Hey, welcome back to the Métropole Grid. My name is Andre. Thanks for tuning in. It is January 2nd. Happy belated Canada Day, or as they call it here in Quebec, Moving Day. Don't mention Canada Day. We don't do Canada Day here. It's Moving Day. I didn't move. I also did in Canada. How's everyone doing? It was a great weekend, it sounds like. Continental season has largely wrapped up. If you hadn't seen EMEA's Continentals in Bergamo run by the nice Italian Netrunner scene, looked like an absolute success. I've talked to a handful of people. I've only heard the most effusive praise in terms of just a fantastic weekend, a fantastic event, fantastic people, food, the coffee. I just heard really, really great stuff. So I'll catch up on chat in a second. There's a lot of people hanging out already, but really quickly, if you're watching this either live or not and you want to take a second to put your experience of how Bergamo went for you, EMEA Continentals went, into YouTube comments, that'd be greatly appreciated. I think a lot of people are stoked and had a fantastic time. So speaking of that, Gailhar, how's it going? EMEA was amazing. First experience judging a big event on Friday, made top half on Saturday. It meant plenty of amazing people. Hell yeah, I'm super stoked. The energy looked really, really good. We talked to Gailhar, who was doing judging during the team tournament, helping us out while we streamed illegally the final round. Really great to hear. Speaking about great to hear, Rahi in chat as well. Congratulations to Rahi, the maker of Cyberfeeder, let alone first top in Swiss, making the top 16 cut. Rahi, really well done. So stoked to see your name out there. We're definitely the cheering squad for there. You didn't get your Canada in today? Yeah, I even got a quick Canada in the morning before work. No, you didn't, Eric. You can't get Canada in. You have to get your America in. Someone top 8'd with Thule? I think so, but Thule is like generally a pretty hyper competitive deck. I don't think it's super surprising. If you're not plugged in, the Thule deck that is Sing plays, these sort of like heavy asset Thule decks, they're an absolute monster. How's it going, by the way, Meteor? But it's not entirely surprising that Thule does well in an event. I hate this thing. It's awful. Hey, Dojin, how's it going? Good game the other night. We'll see Dojin's name pop up on the channel in a bit. Will we see Bathysphere today? No, I totally forgot that card existed somehow. We're not going to see Bathysphere today. I named the stream really late on because I didn't know exactly what we're doing, so we might have to like do a little meandering around it. Threshold, how's it going? I wonder where the name Métropole Grid came from. I don't see a Netrunner card of that name. There's not. I actually had a conversation recently with people being like, oh, I looked at what Métropole meant. That's pretty wild. And I honestly don't know exactly what it meant. But Métropole is a term that I believe is used to describe a homeland or like a governing body in central territory. So like the metropole of the Roman Empire was Italy, including Bergamo, excuse me. I didn't name it for that. I named this channel the same way that most things happen on this channel. It's like, I got to give it a name. I got to get some branding because I had some videos and like, I'm not a branding first kind of person. And so the idea is there's many mega cities in Netrunner, right? Like Boss Wash is the Boston, Washington area, all that plus more. San is San Diego, San Francisco, basically the whole West Coast, Southern West Coast. And so Metropole is meant to be the imaginary mega city between like Quebec, Montreal, and then whoever in the Northeast of America will take. Maybe Ottawa too. I think Ottawa counts, not Toronto. Toronto can have its own city. That's a Torsaw grid. That's the idea. Nothing to it. Metropole, mind you, is just a French translation of Metropolis. It's Métropole. It just means Metropolis grid. It's next to nonsense, but it sounds okay. But that's only because we've heard it so much. It sounds okay. Droids, how's it going? It was an ennui-filled rainy day, but Métropole Grid is here to fix it. Glad to hear it. Sometimes I do enjoy those ennui days. I'm glad we can have some company on them. Perhaps it's a city grid for whatever megacity Montreal becomes. That's 100% it. Tread Penguin, how's it going? You played on the weekend, right? Looking forward to stepping away from a weekend full of Netrunner with a nice Netrunner stream. There you go. Hopefully you had a good time. Also, Vince, greeting programs, welcome. Hey, Rahi, EMEA was very good, also very hot. Was the venue like world's hot, or is just the North Italy hot? Because we looked, the weather seemed to be like 21. It seemed totally doable. Hey, friends. Hey, Alec, how's it going? This track is a bop. Glad you're liking it. That one was probably Aaron Panama's by Kick Tracks. It was wild in terms of temperature. Hey, Robin, congrats on your placement, by the way. Also, really cool kit list. Very, very cool. I also reinforced my feeling that most Netrunner players are neurodivergent, which makes them lovely and interesting, which makes the community so inclusive and nice. There's a lot, I think, of like Netrunner players that are, you know, neurodivergent. I think the game design and NSG has done a fair bit to make that as inclusive as possible in terms of, you know, making the game approachable, which is sick. It's really, really cool. Hold on, I just need to close on that really quickly. But yeah, I'm glad you had a great time judging, that's for sure. It's a cool brand. Thanks, Thanks, Gary. A Thule Barf should not have ice. It should have ice. So Daojin, I know you may build a lot of decks that don't have ice, but actually having one ice, it makes a big difference. Because firstly, you don't just lose to like a Stargate coming down, but like as soon as we have one ice, they have to produce their one installed icebreaker, right? So now they have to like find their buzzsaw and break it. And like that's is another problem for them, right? Like just having one ice is way better than having no ice. It's really, really strange because now you'd be like, well, gotta find your fractor there, criminal. And that is a bit more work than anything else. Big Ramo, actually, how'd your weekend go? I'm glad that you came down. Beans Grid doesn't sound quite as good. The only reason I know what a bathysphere is because I print and played a solo game within the name. I think bathysphere is a beautiful word. It's just a really nice word. I think Bioshock is probably the first bathysphere I bathysphered. I think I've outrun the Jai EP police tonight. They're sneaking around there, Jai. Be careful. Augustus, congratulations on your finish. There's now a bunch of players that have multiple like top cut finishes for across different continentals. Augie is definitely one of them. Shout outs to the matchup that I tuned into, which was Augie versus Augie. I don't think I was confused, but well done. Tron, I'm not used to watching the stream at this time. Good evening. Tron, so close. Tron got, I believe, a 2-for-1 in the last round and just came in like 20th, barely dodging the top 16 cut, something around that, Tron. Bummer. There's always next year. I know you played your heart out, but you have nothing to be embarrassed about. That's really, really good play. The Mind You Grid. Toronto's effigy cannon, its own, I think so, Croy. Like the Torosog City Grid folks call it that, so we're going to go do it. Hey, Wenjong, had a stream and hooray to Isowak tied with Ag as the most popular Jinteki ID in all 3 continentals. It's messed up, man. Wenjong, it is messed up. And like, it's a bit of a monkey spa here. We're going to be definitely talking about some data because we have some really interesting data to talk about. But if we look at the tournament standings, top Jinteki is Personal Evolution followed by Isowak. At, I believe, APAC Continentals, Isowak was the most popular Jinteki identity. And then at the Continentals before it, it was probably Ag Infusion because nobody played Isowak at that point. I don't think Isowak's doing really well. I'll be honest. Like, I don't think it's performing anymore. I think you had the exact like market captured with people not knowing exactly what you're up to. And I also think the decks just got better against it. Like we saw at APAC Continentals, like 4% win rate Isowak versus what's it called? The Shaper matchup. Like that's not very good. But it is now a meta force, and that's entirely you, Wenjong. Like people are playing and training Isowak and seeing Isowak, which like it's wild to attribute that to mostly one person. So you have a lot to be proud of there for sure. Hey, Alex, had our local meetup yesterday. We had 7 players, up from 2. That's a huge jump. Well done. Turdock, how's it going? Hey, Mr. Streamer, how was your weekend as well? Go to bed, Jai. Watching a local scene grow is one of the best feelings. I am not supporting my local scene. I'll be honest. I'm not doing it. Oh, well, actually, we have NPC Montreal coming up. I'll have I promise, the ABR page up by Thursday. Excuse me. We should have done that by now. I'm currently in the middle of like trying to get alt art for the event, and like there's still a lot of work to do. I'm a bit underwater, but the event is at the end of August. If you want to come down, I promise you it's going to be a fantastic event. We did an event like this last year with the Nationals, and it was like my favorite Netrunner thing maybe that year, which was kind of incredible. So we're doing it again. So we'll get there. VT, it's a pleasure to see you energized as ever. Life's treating me well. We had a weekend that was relatively easy. We've been traveling a bit. It was nice to sit down and just watch some EMA stuff and hang out. Personally, I've been working on some content and it's been incredibly frustrating because I'm trying to do a replay review that I think is really great. And I've spent like 6 hours recording and re-recording and I've thrown it all out. So like a bit of a Groundhog Day, and I don't know what it is. You think that the more you do something like this, the easier it'd be, but like honestly, it's still an absolute nightmare, and I don't know what's going on. I need to give it a third shot, and just whatever comes out because I can't waste time like that anymore. We need to get a video on the channel at least once a week at a minimum. So yeah, that'd be nice at least. Hopefully you're doing well too. It's all right. Happy Tuesday. Welcome. I think Augie and Tuna are the first players in at least 3 years to multi-qualify for ICC. Jai, I think you're right. I think you are right. I don't think there's been a lot of multi-qualifications. So that means the entries go down further, right? On the second one they qualify for, I take it? I think Bergamo and Barcelona were comparable when it comes to heat. Gyrometrics, no way. It was that hot? Because I know the stream room seemed separate than the main room. So hopefully y'all were keeping cool. It can get hot there. It's hard to have that many people and not it to be hot. Shoutouts to Jad, who came 17th in one cont and top cut in the other. Man is unluckiest best player out there. Yeah, no, Jad's been super consistent too. Jad made the top cut in this. He was just on the bubble before. I'm glad he traveled out. Mind you, Jot has that like one write-up about how hard it was to travel to World last year. I'm assuming it's a bit easier to travel now. But yeah, no, he's really gives a shit to travel, to compete, and to meet people. He was on my Crown of Servers team last year, or we were the Crown of Servers team with also Gensling, and I'm just very lucky to meet that guy. Yeah, huge ups to Shot. EMEA was great. Warlock helping running the event whenever I wasn't playing turned out to be exhausting though. It's a lot of work. It takes a village to run an event, and I'm glad more and more people like want to put their hand in and want to volunteer. And it's infectious. It like genuinely is infectious. Where, hold on, I need to delete a bot. Once you go to an event and have a fantastic time and realize that you only have a time as good as you are having because there's so much effort put behind the scenes, right? Like, I don't entirely know the extent of it, but I know like Etienne and the other folks from the Italian scene put so much effort to make this event as successful as it was. When it comes to like the fly to EMEA tournaments, reaching out to get all this alt arts and all this other prize support, hosting people to make it again accessible and affordable, doing the stream stuff, which I was talking to Etienne. Etienne had to figure out how to do stream for this event, which like the stream was pretty good. It genuinely takes a village to make an event run smoothly and to make everyone feel comfortable. I hope that is how you felt, obviously. But it's like a lot of folks go to an event and realize like, wow, it is just such a cool space. I want to get involved. And if that's the feeling you have going to this sort of event and you want to like get more stuff going, it is obviously a bit of work, but it's totally doable. And we're seeing more and more of this over the last couple of years with these grassroots tournament events like UK regionals, let alone NPC. It is genuinely worth the effort as long as you have the time to put into it. Did Bologna ban kill R+ that hard? Sort of. I don't think R+ is like, I think Asmari decks, and I think the Asmari number is at 8 here. Asmari's been the most like representative NBN deck, and I think you can play Asmari without Bologna. I think this is that high because EA Sports is playing Asmari, and they made multiple top cut with an Asmari deck. But yeah, NBN seems to be a bit more fragile. Reality Plus, I believe, in Near Earth Hub. I think Near Earth Hub was making the top cut over the last couple Continentals. But yeah, it definitely didn't help the faction. For reference, the mega cities mentioned for North America are Boss Wash, yes, Chilo, which is Chicago, St. Louis, I think, Mexico City, and Toronto. Wait, Toronto's actually mentioned in Android? For real, Crore, I need to read that book I have on my shelf. Biggest difference was no windowed ceiling on mid tables. Oh, so you're not cooking. So you're not cooking. There's a Nova deck. Yeah, I think Ams was the Nova Ampere player. We got to see Ams a bit on day one. This is one of the most impressively diverse top cuts ever. Every faction represented in multiple IDs of each, except NBN LOL. I actually haven't seen what it looks like. We have some stats. I'm going to catch them on chat. We'll look at the stats really quickly. But if we look at the top 16, obviously spoilers for the results there. I cannot be happier. I'll be honest. I'm a huge Tuno fan. Watching Tuno play Tuno stuff and then taking it back at an in-person event. I was really hoping that the finals, like, no offense to Ryan Band Twins. Ryan Band Twins played phenomenally. That op deck that Ryan Band Twins is playing, like, I just hope nobody plays it. It seems absolutely miserable. It's not an attack to Ryan Band Twins, but like, yikes. But like, it was so close to the Tuno Augie rematch from like Italian Nationals last year, which has a bit of a, I would say, tragic, interesting story. But both of these players, all these players here are absolutely killing it. So I'm glad that Tuna gets to take a title in home ground again. Tuna's been having a wild year. Not that Augie hasn't. Kikai also, I think, multiple top 16s now across Continentals. A lot of these players here, we see the names time and time again. I thought Bridgman stopped playing competitively. Finn, give us a chance. What the heck, man? On that note, the Steve Cambridge Finn's deck, the sort of like Banhard deck Kikai was playing, I'm so stoked to see that deck have actual success competitively because it's just one of the most fun decks you can play. Saturday was a pretty poor performance. It was 100% the heat and not lack of prep, but Sunday did some casting and it was incredibly fun. Sorry, missing a /S there. Sorry. Hey, it is Nayeti. How's it going? Congratulations on your success. Agree that the diversity sick as hell. Nayeti should be sooner than later putting up some sort of like video talking through his experience, which I'm excited to see that. You can find that on TMKF Netrunner. Shout out to the 8 Asmari, all piloted by EA Sports. They cooked that deck real good. Yeti was joking to me because you can see this deck here. As I was talking about, like, you know what you should do? You should just put punitive in like any deck that you don't expect it into, and you're just gonna win games in enclosed deck lists. And this is the sort of jupe stat. I think some of the players were on 2 jupe stats, some were on jupe stat Neurospike, and Re-Education Send a Message. So like Cursed Agenda Suite, you have to steal 3 of the agendas. I think we saw slightly more Mad Dash at this event than any other event, which makes sense. I think that's a great call. And then just punitive. I have no doubt that this game had games that lasted like 2 turns. Great. I think it's a strategy. I think it definitely works. It's not my favorite. And this is the open versus closed decks list. Is like, if knowing this open deck list versus closed deck list, you're playing a totally different game. Shout out also to one Klevetnik, which like has a way to maybe deal with Banhar is kind of cool. It is genuinely kind of cool for a card that most people don't know the text on. In short, it dies to Cleaver for 1 credit. In long, you can blank a resource, which for kill combo, let alone for blanking Banhar, not the worst. Kind of cool. Last year was the first time you could play in multiple cons though. Oh, that's true. Was it last year or was it 2 years ago? Yeah, you used to be able to play in multiple cons. You're right. I think it was last year. Your expectations have increased, so everything you make feels like it sucks. It happened to all artists, but it means you're getting better making videos. Don't let your brain make you feel bad. Game of Droids, thank you for that. That's very kind. The problem is, like, I know I can do better. Like, my expectations, I know I can reach them. So it's the worst thing too is that the content I'm making is, and not like, because there's 2 categories of Metropole Grid videos. There's the evergreen Metropole Grid videos that I hope are very good forever, and then the slop. We just put the slop out because there needs to be slop out there. But when it comes to evergreen content, very specifically, I want to make it perfect because it needs to be like accessible for newer players, and then newer players can get more invested in the game. So like my standards are higher than anyone else's standards for obvious reasons, but I'm joking about the slop, but you know what I mean? The invites roll down to the largest event they won one from. So they'll roll down to 6th and 7th at EMEA as the largest event. Oh, that's a really cool policy. Largest event. Very cool. I'm rooting for you to able to get into the zone, and don't stress on publishing. If you're unhappy with something, you don't need to publish. I do though. Eric, I do. I need to put out content. Best tournament I've been to, hands down. Fly to EMEA was amazing. Had friends who made it to EMEA in person only because the fund was too grateful for the amazing experience. I've heard that from a couple people that used the Fly to EMEA funds, and like that is so much work to make this as accessible as possible. Like huge praise to all the folks at who are organizing. Are all the Asmari's re-education kill? Yo, Joe, how's it going? I don't know. All are. We can check the top cut, and I think all these players are sports players, EA Sports. So yeah, this is kill. Cobra Bubbles, punitive kill. Yeah, they're all kill. We did see a couple Asmaris do okay in the last couple Continentals that were actually playing like Hyper Glacier. I don't think that's a favorable matchup into Arsana because like Hydra is just kind of embarrassing when it's bypassed for 3 credits. Messnachesso doesn't hold up against, again, Fazarum Entangler. And with World Triari, you're expecting 2 Fazarums usually, sometimes only 1, but then a lot of recursion. So I don't think it's a great matchup. It's also probably not even that good against Anarch that gets down turbines as much as like we don't even see Hippo. Hippo is probably okay into that matchup. I think that's probably a fair matchup. So yeah, it's just all one testing group playing the same deck that they kept secret. I'll still say you're probably your own worst critic. Oh, 100%. For sure, for sure. Send a Message Punitive was an incredibly smart response to Bologna ban for Asmari. R+ is probably fine at the moment, but has gotten harder to play. Yeah. I know Augustus was one of the folks who was just playing it like in NEH, and I think there's a chance that playing in NEH and having more influence is fine. I think the R+ decks that I'm scared that exist, which is why I don't want to talk about them, are the R+ decks that are just playing like the grossest cards. Like, I generally don't understand Behold. I run Behold because I want to run R&D on turn 1, turn 2. I hit a Behold. The Corp fires it for 2 credits. I have to clear 2 tags. Heaven forbid I trash this. I take 2 more tags the next turn. Right? Like, this is not the same as Snare. Snare cost 4 credits, and having 3 fewer cards in hand doesn't lose me the game, and I'm free to trash it. You hit a Behold on turn 1, the Corp pays 2 credits. You have to spend the next 2 clicks and 4 credits clearing the tags, and then if you trash it, you still get oppoed for free. Like, it doesn't make sense. And then the other NBN 3-1, like the sort of decks are playing those really, really annoying things where just like nothing makes financial sense that you shouldn't be touching cards. I'm scared about those Reality Plus decks more than anything else. Banner Plus unban Bologna, I'm like almost there. I think Banner Plus is probably, I'd be happy with it because I don't like playing against R Plus and it makes the fundamentals of interacting very frustrating. But I think Bologna is one of those sort of cards that is really hard to have a faction get new cards when it exists. I think I'll be talking about this relatively soon when Jeff and I revisit the tier list, but there's like a series of cards to me that are just so independently good and don't require any sort of build around synergy that they just make a fundamental big piece of the power level of the faction. Like Bologna requires no build around, it requires no finesse to use. It's just going to make all NBN decks better. And it's okay that there's cards like that, but I think that game is more interesting when those cards are a bit more, again, interesting and they don't just slot in anywhere. Other cards like this is Bravado. It's like, Bravado is just way too good all the time. If you ban Bravado, Criminal is like in a really, really bad spot, but then Criminal is now structurally has to be balanced around the fact that there's going to be 3 Bravado in every single Criminal deck, and I don't think that's great. And the reason why I'm thinking about this, like right now, the one that gets me is like Trickshot's exact same category. I think Trickshot is a deck, falls in every single Shaper deck. It's not very nuanced, and it's hard to balance around Shaper when every Shaper just has 3x Trickshots. Like, it just brings the whole faction up. Where cards like Coalescent are a bit more interesting because you can only play it in certain engines. So cards like Bologna, cards like Bravado, cards like Trickshot are like kind of scary to me because they make balancing the faction much more difficult, and they'll be around for a really long time. Not Burner? No, Burner's a bit more nuanced. Not every deck plays Burner, but I think every Shaper deck should be playing 3 Trickshots. Just like every Criminal deck should be playing 3 Bravados. I'll talk about this when we do the tier list, but originally I read Trickshot and I had an assumption that this card would be nuanced enough that there would be enough board states where it wasn't worth playing. Like, I thought by design it'd be like, oh, this is a card that's really specifically cool on certain board states, but not as good as Overclock on other board states. And very quickly, once I played the card, I was like, no, wait, that's wrong. It's just really good on every single board state, which is kind of the exact same truth about Bravado. And those are the same sort of cards where it's like, it's hard. It's really difficult when the major play pieces are just universal value bombs that you can't be like, oh, we can balance around it. You can't balance around Bologna too easily, I don't think. Sorry, I got sidetracked. It's miserable in the best way. Lowest tables were playing outside and it seemed nice after the sun moved. Oh, really cool. What is the Tuno Og story from Italians? Can't leave us hanging like that. So I don't know if the replay still exists somewhere, but back in the day, that was when Augustus was playing a lot of Egg Infusion. Was Augie playing Egg Infusion at this event? Is there a return to form? Yeah, he was. So the deck that Augustus was playing was Regenesis Egg Infusion. And Regenesis is a really powerful card. This deck had punitive Counterstrike in it. It would throw agendas into archives, unlike the Isowak decks, unlike the Restoring Humanity decks, very much like, excuse me. And the idea was if you ran archives and stole the bacterial programming, the 3-pointer, you'd feed the runner 6 points, and then the runner would die to punitive. So the idea is that with the seeded archives, you put a Regenesis on the table, and then you'd score out the Regenesis. Tuno was playing Ma Hoshiko, and was just in a really good spot. It was set up. It had, Augie had like 3 or 4 or 5 cards left in R&D. Tuno looked at the deck list and said, like, I don't have to do anything here. I don't think there's any way that Augie can score out. But what, unfortunately, Tuno missed is that there was a big deal. And if it ran and just like touched HQ, which I think was holding mostly agendas, it would have closed the game out. But I think it decided that it didn't have to do anything and just kind of like set up and click for credits and wasn't aggressive. Unfortunately, it just missed that there's a big deal on the open deck list, and this was top decked. You saw Augustus just drawing furiously for it because it was in the bottom like 4 cards of the deck. He had enough money and he just big dealed out and just scored a 5-3 from hand, closing the game out because he was on game point. So it was just unfortunate. It was just that Tuno missed that there was a big deal on the list. I think it had a really like nearly guaranteed line to close the game out. Augustus just played to his outs, and unfortunately Tuno lost it there at the finals. So it was like probably heartbreaking. Augustus played to his outs, so like no disrespect to Augustus. Augustus is obviously such a phenomenal player, and he just held on track and hoped that he could do it. But it was probably Tuno's game to win. So that is the idea, that finals is like kind of really cool. There is, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pull it up, but now if you understand that, you'll understand this art, which I love. Pre-Nick Instagram. Nick Prada made this alt art for the event. I don't know if I'm going to find it. But there's this alt art that is a picture of Augie throwing an ace. The ace has the mammoth on it. And it's meant to be a reference to Regenesis and him finally winning Italian Nationals last year to this like ridiculous combo. So that's the story. It's a cool story. It's a really cool story, but it's a reminder to always review your opponent's deck list whenever you need to. And if you think you're guaranteed 100% to win, just review the deck list one more time. I think it's like a genuine learning. Bridgman just doesn't prepare anymore. He legit told his opponent turn 1 on Saturday he's not followed the meta past few months. It's not super surprising when he showed up playing Restoring Humanity, which is like the deck he probably last competitively played at Worlds last year. Not that that deck is like a obvious choice, not that it's a bad choice, but it seems like he was just playing what he was playing. When I heard the news that Bridgman was attending EMEA, I legit felt a chill run down my spine. We went 5-1 in open deck list. Deck is cracked. Yeah, I believe the deck is still pretty good. I do think the opens versus closed deck list is going to have a difference, though. I heard a blank Banhart to win a game versus Tuno. Yo, Lucas, how's it going? Yeah. I like Slop. Clavetic did kill Tuno and Swiss. That's really cool. There's Metropole content that's slop, that isn't slop? Oh, okay, I read that the wrong way. Have NSG ever said if they balance for open deck lists? I always assume that they balance for closed. I think they balance for both. I don't think the game is actually really balanced around open or closed deck lists. The game should just be good on its own. Some decks are just inherently better in closed deck lists. Some deck lists are better in open deck lists. It's not a concern when it comes to balancing. I don't think in the history of the game there's been a card to be like, this is a better card in open or closed deck lists, unless you think the designers are balancing around, you can put Snare in your HB deck, which like you can. That's the appeal of the game, but I don't think it comes in any balance conversations at all. Speaking of old content, the other night during a bout of insomnia, the YouTube algorithm suggested a Met Grid video to watch. You know when you're sleep deprived, you look at something, think that's wrong, but then have to figure out why. You were playing Wizard and had no facial hair? Yeah, I was probably like a fair bit younger. It might have still been JNet content, but I'm probably a lot younger. Content monster must consume. How's it going, Coke? How's it going, Chinchling? As Mari's close enough to R+, I imagine this is why Bologna got banned. I think, how's it going, Kyle? Overall, banning Bologna makes sense in the long term. Like, in the long term, it's the right thing to do. The bummer is that the long term is like a couple months away, but for now, yeah. Who knows? Would R+ be the first card from System Gateway to be banned? Yes. And I think, Zareth, it's hard to ban stuff from System Gateway, or it's a bit harder to ban stuff from System Gateway, just because that is the thing that everyone owns when they get into the game, and letting them say one of your cards doesn't work is not great. I'd argue that Trickshot is way stronger than Bravado. I think I can see that argument too. I think I can see that argument. Spin Doctor in every deck, but the thing with Spin Doctor in every deck is that it's an interesting card. Like, Spin Doctor is such a nuanced card with that allows you to deal with agenda flood, allows you to make plays. It is such a cool card. I know people complain about 3x Spin Doctors, and like, I get it, but it's such a hard problem to fix. And we're lucky that Spin Doctor is as cool as a card as it is as a staple in every deck, because the amount of play lines that into, around, horribly into Spin Doctor are so cool that having flexibility on a card like this that's fun to play, that gives player expression, is so much more interesting than just value bomb Bravado. I gain 4 credits while running, right? Like, Spin Doctor is sick. It's genuinely a sick card. And then the problem is when people want more Spin Doctor effects, like, why can't I get a Wayland Spin Doctor? Why can't I get a Jinteki Spin Doctor? You can do that, and then you end up in a world where every deck can have like 19 recursion cards, and you don't want that. It's like they tried this. They genuinely tried this in Rain and Reverie. They made Attitude Adjustment. Do you know what's a poisonous card? Attitude Adjustment. Do you know what else they made in Rain and Reverie? Because there's no Spin Doctor. They tried to make, what's it called? Drudge Work. Do you know what's a poisonous card? Drudge Work. Like, it is genuinely the best combination of player expression, opportunity to like fix hands, and it is not toxic. I think it's possible to make non-toxic Spin Doctors. You'd probably have to have some sort of subtype that says if you have one of these, you can't have the other ones in your deck. But at the end of the day, maybe it's a bummer we have a 12 influence deck if you're not playing NBN, but I don't know, man. Spin Doctor's so good. Spin Doctor's just a cool card. I need to go blow my nose. I'll be right back. Got worked up. 1 second. I got toilet paper. Let's go. Bravado and Jinteki is still a bit awkward at times. Maybe. But maybe not. I remember the Drago ban justification from last year's. They were a bit about how SBT was considering banning R+ instead of Drago, but testers jumped into Asmara and games were equally insufferable. Yeah, well, I think Drago's pretty insufferable, but I actually think Drago in Asmari is way worse. Obviously it is. Like, the problem with Drago is that it was free in R+, and the play patterns are just really boring. So, it's a mix. We had a bunch of time without Spin Doctor and no Jackson replacement, and people got along fine. They got along fine, and there's even people in this chat that think you shouldn't be playing Spin Doctor in your normal deck. But, the game was different. Staples are fine. Ryushi, how's it going? But when half the deck list is auto-includes, it dampens creativity, makes the meta stale, and I agree. I agree with that. And I think that's a problem that is hard to fix, and we kind of saw parts of this, and there's huge successes in the card pool, and then there's some non-successes in the card pool. I think right now an issue is all Anarch decks are like 90% the same cards. And that's because the self-synergy package is so strong and doesn't require to work with an ID or to be built around in any sort of really meaningful way. Criminal's the same sort of thing, but that's because Criminals only has so many good cards. It's almost like we haven't got a lot of new Criminal cards in the last little while. But there are successes here, right? Like, Essa's doing great. And S's card pool is very specific S's card pool, as much as a lot of it does overlap with the Anarch stuff, but this is like really successful. I think As, of course, is one of my favorites, and obviously these are the wilder build-arounds, of course, but I like it when we have more interesting build-arounds as opposed to like value bomb IDs. And for what it's worth, we've been moving away from value bomb IDs. We haven't seen these in a long time. So while it's good to have something like Koshiko around for just generalist, I think the IDs have generally got better. The idea is that every Sebastio deck is actually drastically different than every other Anarch deck, which is kind of what I want. Every time I open this page, it says, do you want to translate from Portuguese? As much as Sebastio is not like hit competitive tables for a bunch of other reasons, I don't think the future is dim. I think the future is pretty bright. There's obviously some misses. There's a bunch of, I think most of the IDs in this set are not particularly that great, but you know what I mean? Like, we're getting there. Hey, Pod, we're talking about a lot of stuff. Imagine Augie not picking Egg. Hey, Falco, huge fan from Germany. Hey, welcome. I don't have a scene around me. Only have System Gateway printed out. Enjoy your content. Thank you. Hey, thanks for saying hi. There used to be one of the biggest Netrunner scenes in Germany. I can't tell you what exactly happened. I think there's still a lot of really good German players, but if you're looking for players around you, hit up Green Level Clearance, hit up whatever local German Discord servers, because there's definitely a lot of folks around you that would want to play Netrunner that are in the same position you are. I know you're going to have to do a bit of legwork there for sure, but Germany, to me, for someone who's been playing for over a decade, has been like such a big hub classically of Netrunner. There must be folks in there. It's also big. Augie made cut all 3 cons, and the one he didn't make ICC cutoff was the one he didn't play Ag. Go figure. Can confirm 5 agendas in hand at that point, though anoetic protection. Augustus. Oh, Jonald, you're the one who left the comment. You were missing because I couldn't attach your YouTube channel to who you are. Congratulations on your EMEA. But yeah, you're the we should be playing Arkham. Can anoetic actually protect 5 agendas in HQ? Sort of. Once. So many of the top decks were on 3-pointers and punitive. It seems like a weird place. Yes. We're going to talk about some stats once to catch up on chat. I haven't exactly looked into what the meta looks like here. I think 3-pointers are really coming back. And I think I saw some stuff that I really don't like when it comes to what the meta looks like. Ryan Bantwins, mind you, had a fantastic run from the lower brackets. This is the exact sort of deck where like 3 Drudge Work, 3 Spin Doctors, just basically never drawing your agendas, having no plan to score them out. I really don't like Netrunner like this. This deck looks proper good. Of course it is. I'm a big fan of Tuno's deck because Tuno is scoring out. And Tuno's deck actually wants to score to 7 in every single game, and I love that. 3 SDS, but then we actually have like a lot of agendas in here, 10 agendas. But there's a lot of decks here that are running as few agendas as possible, so I do think Mad Dash is good. Kikai is running, you know, the cursed 18 points and 40. That's messed up. Same with Cobra. Bridgman's running only 3-pointers and Regenesis. Test running, let's see what kind of op this is. This is Rushob, so this is what I would deem healthy. That's not a value neutral sentence. Jad is running PD. Rahi's running PD. I think these are standard enough PDs. So what do you think they'd be? Those are always fun. They're good. Yeti is running the 6 3-pointers. Jonold, let's see what side of op Jonold's on. Same as Tuno. Love this deck. This deck is sick. Very similar to Tuno. Excuse me if it's not the same. Kersha, maybe you pronounce it. Okay, this is like Lady Killer variant. Very cool. So punitive outfit. Just like Odal was playing, came in 3rd at Worlds, if I'm not mistaken. Belzor and Sports Metal, Sports Metal. I don't think this is any weird Sports Metal. I think this is just good Sports Metal. So this is not like the, what's it called? The Amani Sports Metals, just Sports Metal. Snoobs, Asa Group. I'm assuming this is good stuff, Asa Group. It is. So it's not that bad. It's like half. Harrison is on Iswax, so this is 3-pointers punitive, send a message bacterial. Definitely a punitive in there. 2 of them, 3 seamless, going more for the score out. I like that. I think playing 3 punitive or 2 seamless. I'd rather play seamlesses than punitive in the modern meta. And then I don't know what Golden Witch is playing. Looks like just good PD. So it's like half. There's just a lot of decks out there that are just playing as few agendas as possible and not intending to score out, or just playing 3-pointers and like doing punitive stuff. Like punitive is the highest amount in any top 16 that we've ever seen. I think. Citation needed. Spin Doctor Love. I've seen a video. Staple, but NBN IDs are effectively have 3 more influence. They do. They do. That's the hard part, is that like Spin Doctor's influence. That is the hardest part, is that NBN has more influence to work with. It is what it is, I think. Was the same with Jackson Howard in the day? Granted, noise was a thing. It was more necessary. David, how's it going? Yes, our old Spin Doctor was Jackson Howard. However, Jackson Howard was less of a healthy card. I think Spin Doctor is just a much better design overall. Jackson Howard, you had to deal with him because this ability is kind of messed up. And 3 cards versus 2 cards, let alone it doesn't accelerate the game inherently. It is a way slower card for both recursion, or it's worse for recursion, slower for the game coming to its actual conclusion. That I think Spin Doctor is just a much better design. And you'd hope so, right? Like 9 years later, can you figure something out with all the learnings? And it looks like I think NSG nailed it. So yeah, you need to contest Spin Doctor. I don't get how Team Spo leaves HB, but J-House stays in NBN. System gateway. System gateway. Make more cards without influence values. Yo, here's a fun trivia thing that I got a bit fascinated about on the weekend. Sorry, I'm behind on chat. We'll catch up. How many neutral ice has NSG printed? How many neutral ice are currently in the standard format? What do you think the answer is? Neutral ice used to be super common. Just about every release we would get, like every data deluxe, we'd get like 3 neutral ice, 2 neutral ice. Every set would have 2 or 3 neutral ice. NSG has 4. A lot of people are guessing 3 to 4. There's 4 neutral ice currently that NSG has printed. There's slightly more in the entire format because there's some holdovers, some really bad stuff, and Enigma is kind of still quietly sick. So if we go faction neutral, and then we go to rotations 6th rotation, and we go to type ice by release date, we got 3 neutral ice in System Gateway, Palisade, which is see some amount of play, Tithe, which is one of the best ice ever printed, and White Space, which is probably a bit better than we think it is, and then Enigma, which is quietly Enigma, and then Rhyme. Rhyme is the last time that NSG's printed a neutral ice outside of System Gateway, and that was before System Gateway. Then we have all this stuff, which is kind of nonsense, some good birds and some bird-like creatures, but that's it. That's wild. They've only printed 4 neutral ice. And NSG has been like really strange about neutral cards. In general, if you look at neutral cards that they've put out, almost all the neutral cards that they've been putting out are influenced, whether it's ice or not. Like NSG has a way of dealing with neutral that's very different. Oh, this is all ice still, excuse me. But NSG, I did the wrong one. The way that they deal with neutral cards is very different than the way classically FFGs deal with neutral cards. So like, look at the last neutral cards. B1001, that's a cool neutral card. Powers That Be is influence. Ampere, and that's it. Like, we haven't got neutral cards. We don't often get neutral cards. Same for the runner. It's like all the runner neutral cards are like Baya Bands. It's influence. What's it called? The Levy AR Lab Access, Ashen Epilogue. It's influence. Like, we rarely see influenced cards or neutral, pure neutral cards. And I think it's something that I've been realizing. Oh, Matryoshka was the last, and technically Valentina. But like, it's different than it used to be. If we look at neutral ice throughout the whole like history of the game, there used to be entire neutral ice suites that you could play. Hold on, one more. So while there was some in the core set, like we had Excalibur, this is standard still. Let's go not to standard. It's like in standard, like, hold on, I did this wrong. There's 33 ice. And some of these were like entire ice suites, like Grail ice was his own thing. Assassin just being a neutral card. Cobra being a neutral card. Like, these were actually very impactful. Vanilla, Quandary being neutral cards were very impactful. And the reason why I bring this up is like, I like neutral ice when they're interesting and they have multiple homes. I think we've seen a couple whiffs in the last little set of ice that just don't see any play. But the fact that they're like in, like, I don't know. I want to see something like Tithe. I want to see an ice that's like, this is actually interesting across multiple factions. And I think Tithe is interesting across multiple factions. But then we see, you know, this is obviously cherry picked, is we see cards like this used to be a neutral card. A card like this used to be neutral. And that's cool because this is the sort of card that makes sense in a lot of different factions, because any faction could utilize something like this and any faction could do something interesting with it. I just don't know why. NSG has a different way of looking at neutral. They've been like very averse of playing like very easy to play neutral cards, which is like in one way is good and in other ways bad. I don't know. Grail was influenced. Yeah, Grail was influenced. So it was like the thing you built around, but at least it was cool. I'm way behind on chat now. Sorry. I'm just going to dump that and not like respond to it and just read. Spin Doctor is what Brainstormers for Legacy, a very good stable that allows people to play the game, defeats Flood. Name all the Spin Doctor alternatives. The rules already restrict you to 3 total then. Sorry, Cror. Gatekeeper, Dredge Rig, Attitude Adjustment, Genotaping were all released in pretty rapid succession. Yes, Spark. And that was the window where there was no Jackson Howard. TCA is a fine example of a cool 5 influence card. Yes. Maybe null influence spin doctors for each faction could be a thing. But then Rohit, then you can have a deck that has like 9 spin doctors in it. You have to like, there has to be some text on it to prevent you from doing that. I was happy to see one Soinyan, the new Isud. Sorry, Augustus. Building a Crim deck is like 4 cards changing between decks. I agree. Huge fan from Germany. Rickard, how's it going? I don't have a scene around me. Only have System Gateway printed out and enjoy your content. Wait, did I read that twice? Or is that 2 different accounts with the same text? Because y'all two could find each other. Falco? To be fair, I also don't think you need that many different econ options to make runners interesting. It's all the other effects that make the difference. I think econ options that are build arounds are really cool. Like Coalescence is really cool. And you can't just slot into any deck. You want to build around it. And I think that's the problem is like Criminal hasn't had any build around econ options in a long time. And just about every Criminal econ card is like, it just does money if you make runs, right? Like it's just a bit trickier than that. To call ESA build around is a bit of a stretch with the deck majorly built itself. It's just not the same as other enter decks. Yes. The core is still very similar, but at least it's different enough. I think it's while that Germany hasn't had a big Netrunner renaissance, I can only imagine things are just waiting on a few people to start organizing. I agree. I totally agree. A little while back, you mentioned numbers crunching on the upgraded Olive McBride. Is that something you're going to release? Yes. If we ever get to making the Arkham channel. Yeah, that'll be the first video, I imagine. Green Clans on Discord is the biggest hub to connect with folks. Yes. I don't live in a big city and there's no way to buy the new cards in physical form except from importing from UK, which is expensive. Is the store not open yet? I thought the NSG store was reopening. It might not be open yet. It's been a bit cursed, unfortunately. It's been like struggling, but it might be able to buy stuff sooner than later. And yes, our throwback team was missing Arkham. Okay, very, very cool. Okay, sorry, I'm behind on chat. Hey, Gyro. Hey, Ren. Also, most of the time, non-Jateki, non-NBN IDs are spending upwards of 5 to 6 influence on spins and Mavs. I thought I liked Mav much more than CVS. I think the game is interesting where the like 1 influence tech cards are like kind of in like spread around. I played in a world where Chrysium Grid was like a 2 influence tax on non-Wayland decks. I totally agree that it feels like a lot of the 1 influence cards right now are exclusively Mavirus and Spin Doctor, but I used to play back in the day where like Chrysium was often a 2 influence splash. IP Block, for better or worse, was also like a 2 influence splash or your 1 last influence. And I don't think we've had that many stellar 1 influence cards in the last couple sets that fall into those gaps. I think Magnet is like technically not as relevant as it used to be, but that was sometimes like a 2 to 3x tax based 1 to 2x tax based off of what you're playing against and what you're playing. But I feel like we haven't found a lot of good 1 influence cards. And I think it tells there's actually more deck lists that we've seen in the last little while that are playing 14 influence, that we don't feel like we have cards like this. And sometimes cards like this you complain about, like I could see one complaining about because it promotes homogeneity, but I think it's cool where every faction has like a 1 influence card you want to consider importing. Currently it's just Mav and Spin Doctor. I agree. Like, we wish it could be wider. Tune on that op is Busto. If anyone else's hands, it's good, great. We need to make sure it doesn't ban op as a result of its own superiority. I don't think Tuno will. I think Tuno is an outlier with the data too. It's like, oh, this op deck is doing really good with 1 player particularly, but there's another player in the top cut playing that deck too. I swear I barely see neutral ice outside of SG. Yes, you don't. I don't know why it is that way. It's the 3 from Gateway and Rhyme, exactly. I think Germany is still quite strong in the game, just incredibly fragmented with a lot of the old guard leaving the game or the country. Tradon is currently putting in a lot of effort. There's still a bunch of NWE players around. I'm not sure if they're all in Germany. They're definitely not. But yeah, I have no idea. Sorry, I'm catching up on chat. Renan, salut, ça va? B1001 is secret NBN? Yes, it's cool. It's weird that it's not, but it is secretly NBN. It's like, there's no reason not to. I remember thinking that Baya and Powers were something that called back to FFG days with neutral influence stuff, but like late FFG, like Deuce's Wild FFG. They're like not auto-include neutral cards, and I still think you can make neutral cards without them being auto-includes, but yeah, neutral Earth Hotel. Maybe they got scared after the Cyberdeck's off meta and got scared of printing more neutrals. I could see it. Like there's sometimes the neutrals get cracked and you do end up in the Cyberdeck sandbox situation. Like and we dunk on that, right? We say like, oh, it's so strange when most of the decks are playing only neutral agendas. I'll get there. Yeah, like it is a double-edged sword, and I know that you can complain on both sides, but I just want to know what NSG is thinking. Not that that's a complaint exactly, but it's like it's very different than it used to be, and they seem to be very measured with neutral cards. I think we got an entire cycle that had no neutral cards. If I'm not mistaken, Borealis had like only neutral, what's it called? IDs. It had no neutral cards. Ampere. Nova. Oh, Matryoshka, excuse me. So we had a whole set with only one neutral card. That's notable. That is very, very strange. And in some ways that's good because there's more cards for factions. So that could be interesting, but there's been a drought for sure. Gerard, I think it's because they're pushing a new archetype for each faction each cycle. No space for general good stuff. Yeah, it does look like that. Especially when you look at this cycle, which this cycle is all about like, you know, all this harmonic stuff, all of whatever this was, NBN being okay, all the op stuff in general, all the, you know, sabotage stuff. It's hard. I think they're afraid of hedge gamble syndromes. If you make a true neutral too good for deck building, becomes odd. 3 hedge gamble, then choose an identity. But I don't think you want, like, that's the thing with neutral cards. So this is the way the neutral works in a lot of other games. So in Arkham Horror, Marvel Champions, and Marvel Champions has a neutral problem. The neutral cards are a bit too good. Is the neutral cards are meant to be flexible ideas that everyone wants access to, but then either not the best or a bit overpriced, which obviously we dunk on cards for those. But like Cobra was so good because those are like really mean subroutines. They're not obviously easily game-winning subroutines, but this made it in one world. Because having a sentry with slightly amount of teeth and as much as 4 credits is really expensive is a cool thing that you have access to. This one also didn't pop off, but like, you know how much happier I would have been with the idea of Mercury if there was a neutral guard equivalent or even a 1 influence guard equivalent. Not that guard was ever very good. It did see some competitive play, but these are the sort of cards where it's like, it's obviously not the best thing you can be doing, but it is an option everyone has access to for little to no cost. But besides the fact that you're paying 4 credits for a 2-strength sentry and their end. Okay. Sorry, I'm behind. Good neutrals equals less law for faction-specific cards homogenization. I think there's a way Lindex to do it in both sides. Like, I don't think Cobra was a problem. Off 1515 has been getting into streaming lately. I've been backed the Logitech Reach and also wanted to start dabbing a little in streaming once it arrives. I don't know what the Logitech Reach is. Same guy. By no influence, I meant like with no influence cost, like agendas, so you can't import them into other factions. Oh, neat. I see what you mean. So like faction locked. If you give all the spin alternative cards the same name, then players are still limited to 3 total in their deck. Oh, like if you call them all Spin Doctor, but then there's a Wayland Spin Doctor. So then it is locked by name. Interesting. Friendo is a build around econ option technically. I don't think so. Like friend of a friend? NSG has definitely been rehoming old neutral things as of late. Map for CVS, IPO becomes Wayland and Techie. Yeah, they're right. They've taken a lot of neutral cards and put them in homes. We got Sassy Opportunity? Yeah, but that's not really a thing. Okay. I'm almost there. A virus has at least seen variations between decks based on meta individual data. Spin Doctor seems like an auto 3x all the time. Yep. And you can argue that you can try playing without it. Influence tax. I played an Anarch Desperado meta even on the most wanted list. Yeah, the most wanted list was a shopping list. You just knew it was good. Only just jumped into this, but sounds like an interesting combo. Hey, Safer, how's it going? Yeah, it's not so much a rant. It's a question. One thing that I will say, and this was something that like I think rubbed me slightly the wrong way with the last release, is that it was the only release, if I'm not mistaken, where we did not hear discussions from intentions of the NSG designers. I love that shit. I really want to know what NSG is doing as what they're prioritizing. We used to get articles to be like, hey, this is a new mechanic. We think this is a new mechanic is good for X reason. And even whether you agree or disagree with it, NSG does a great job explaining what they're trying to do and why they believe in it. And that's phenomenal. I love that stuff. I want that stuff more than anything else. But this was the first set where there was no conversation, which was to me a bit more interesting because this set specifically had a lot of things that were very different and actually went against some of the design decisions that NSG was on record saying before. Like there's a lot of recursion cards, and NSG classically was on record to say like, we don't like recursion that much. And that's fine. They can change their mind. That's not the point. The point is I want someone from NSG to be like, we think Ashen Epilogue is okay for this reason. And I just want that. I want to hear intentions so much more so I can understand more what they're thinking. And it's not so I can disagree with them. I just want to know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're thinking. Maybe I should just have NSG people on and interview them. That's probably the easier way to force what I want in the world. But Cobra did nothing wrong. Sometimes I feel like guard could exist as an operation that applies non-bypassable to an ice. It's really hard to make conditions good. It really is. But yeah, we had a grid that did that. Someone shouted it out in chat. There was a grid that said cards can be exposed or bypassed on the server, which is like never saw any play. I assume the neutral drought will continue as Sunset tested games without daily casts, and direction makes sense. I like Castle. The thing is, like, if you ask me, I don't think that they're going to be a reprint for Earthrise Hotel. I don't expect there to be a reprint for Daily Cast once these things rotate. I think if we see what NSG is doing now, they're just going to print an Earthrise Hotel variant for every faction. Am I upset about that? No, probably not. But like, it just seems like their design goals are not about printing cards like Daily Cast and Earthrise Hotels. And I think Daily Cast is actually like a good card, not to exist in the game. I think it's cooler if your 5 credit slow econ card for every faction is a bit different, right? The closest I think we've seen to this is environmental testing, which was kind of blasted for being just, you know, it's just daily cast, but a lot more work. But now you have decks that can build around it, that can fire it on the turn it comes down. And I think we'll see more like that. That's my guess. Daily cast is not rotating. Oh, you're right, it's not. But I'm imagining that at some point there's going to be a reckoning with the old FFG cards. Because this is a reprint, right? Region slot's so contested. It is really contested. I hope they do the same for Rashida. Each faction get their own 1 influence Rashida that's limited 3 Rashida per deck. Maybe. I don't think you're going to see that many of them because that's this whole same problem. Yeah, if it's limit 3 per deck, maybe. But I imagine we're going to see something that's more like Charlotte, right? We're going to see something that's a bit more flavorful. I think you're going to have to consider splashing it. It doesn't do exactly everything Rashida does or NGO Front does. I think we're going to see something closer to Charlotte. I think Charlotte's a success. If she was 1 influence, you'd see a lot more of her. Which is not really a sentence that's worth saying, but you know what I mean? I super enjoyed listening to interviews with June. Agree that reading, listening to designer stuff helps a lot. Yeah, it totally does, Ryan. How's it going? Maybe they don't have enough time to dev and talk about the set. Maybe, but they did before. You'd hope they do. It's a really important thing to do. It's not just like to make Andre say it. It's like a marketing thing. It makes people excited. Like, yeah, maybe they don't have time to do it, but they probably should try and figure out how to make time to do it. That's like, sounds like I sound like a shitheel, but you know what I mean? Like, it's probably worth doing. I'd be happy to do an interview. I love talking about Netrunner. That's it. I cannot speak on behalf of design. Yeah. Safer. That's a hard thing. It needs, not that we wouldn't be excited to interview you, but you know what I mean? Underway grid. Thank you, Kevin. Underway grid is pretty bad. Costs nothing, though. Andre loves Charlotte so much it becomes a stream intro pick. Well, that's because I edited it. And I was like, wait a second. I should change it season by season, which means like if we continue to get spoilers on this channel, I need to get spoilers with a really good Photoshop file that I'm equipped to edit. Because I got lucky that Charlotte is exactly the sort of style of a card I can edit. Yeah, this is terrible. I like being able to pay for cards without being forced to play environmental testing or whatever hoops the faction-specific money card asks for me. Daily cast is great. I think daily cast is like, I hear you, that you just want to play a card and it gives you money. But like, that's the sort of idea that we've seen across, right? Like we saw Easy Mark, which is like, okay, gained 3 credits. Not a very interesting card, didn't see a lot of play, but then we see Carpe Diem, where it's like, we're going to take these sort of ideas, attach them to something else and make them more interesting. So I'd be very surprised if you see a daily cast. I think you're going to see something that is, again, like environmental testing. I don't know. I think the game's more interesting when you don't just have an install for 5 credit button. I played Underweight Grid and Ag Infusion before Anansi was printed. Get out. Is this Kikai? He kicks. Because of security nexus? Yeah, that's true. Security nexus is a thing. Environmental testing was more interesting when Shaper needed to click for install. I think it was pretty rough when you had to click to install. That was when we didn't play it. Okay, if that's Kikai, we'll have a real quick transition. Apologies, I feel like, and this is mostly a result of the Continental season, please give me feedback politely, even if the feedback is something you don't think I want to hear. We spend a lot of streams, specifically Tuesday streams, where we spend the first 2 hours and we don't even play Netrunner. Sorry about that, if we need to be sorry about that. If that's the case, I probably need to do a better job. Maybe Thursday streams just coming in and playing gameplay and then doing stuff later. But we have still a bit to talk about, to look at some of the results, to look at some stats. And then I have a little rant to go on. Buckle up for that. But talking about Netrunner is fun. Actually, I love talking about Netrunner. Like, honestly, it's sometimes more fun than playing the game, which is like, not like it doesn't mean the game's not good. It's just I like talking about Netrunner. But please, if you're watching this and be like, I don't care about the Metropole Grid recently because all he does is talk about competitive play, that is totally fine feedback. I need to hear that if that's the case. You can hit me in the YouTube comments. Just be polite about it. I listen to talk about anything. Oh, VT, thank you. Hanging out is cool. Gameplay, sleep. Loving to hear you talking Netrunner. Francesco, how's it going? How's your weekend? I saw Pele out there. Netrunner meetups are hard. Talking Netrunner is so great. Let's go. Okay. I'm clearly I have the audience that wants to talk about Netrunner. I don't know about the rest, but I love hearing you talk. Thank you, Dufresne. How's it going? That's very funny. Rant tease. Yeah, we have a rant. We have a pretty bad rant, honestly. It's gonna be fun though. I'm here to clip more quotes of decklist write-ups mainly. Okay, so Kikai's been doing this behind the scene. He's been collecting numbers. So for those who don't know, sorry, this is a small, if you're watching on mobile, it's hard to make this presentable. I can share the link to this, I've been told. So it's going to be in the chat. You can look this if you want. This is not my work. This is all Kikai. Shoutouts to Kikai. This is the data that Kikai uses to do Kikai's website, the write-up, which is fantastic. These are the win rate numbers and the matchups. You see how they are. So this weekend was double-sided Swiss. It wasn't single-sided Swiss. So all the stuff is now on Cobra. Cobra, you can still extract a JSON file, I've been told. So if you just go up here and you do like 3466.json, I think is what Kikai was telling me, you can extract all this data by a JSON file. Back when we had this up on single-sided Swiss stuff on Aesop's tables, I could easily go through this and calculate by hand, and I had a chart that had all the Continentals data to tell you win rates and stuff like that. I don't have per matchup win rate, which I think overall is a more interesting statistic, but this is the sort of data that you can get from the JSON file that Kikai is doing to make it pretty cool. But it's different than my data. I don't think I can actually crunch the data from this Continentals because the way the data is presented is different. Proud of single-handedly lowering his max win rate. I'm happy listening to Netrunner talk. I've been tuning in even more since it's been more commentary. Even if I'm more positive on RWR, I'm hearing the other side. Oh yeah, hey, like I want to be clear. My opinions on things are not the truth. So apologies if I have been a bit negative about some stuff. I think videos with gameplay like ABC series is dope, but I usually tune out for stream gameplay because I actually need to watch it instead of just listening. That's actually a really good point. Like I do hang out sometimes Friday nights pretty consistently. I'll have like Jeff stream on when I'm like maybe doing something else, and it's hard for me to follow the game unless I'm sitting down and watching it, but it's like cool to hang out with Jeff and Jeff's chat and other folks who stream too. The rambling interactive podcast style vibes after I'm done work are super welcome. Oh, very cool. Counterpoint, asking audience if they like Netrunner talk after 1 hour Netrunner talk will cause selection bias. Bro, I don't know what you're talking about. Wait until the YouTube comments come in and nobody makes it through the first hour. Anyways, let's look at some data. I'm gonna try and hide the bottom row doesn't matter. It's the freedom row. So I don't think we can cover the bottom row. These are the win rates. So you want to look for numbers that have big numbers and big matchups. So for instance, the most popular matchup of the weekend, and really quickly, if we just kind of make sure we're on the same page, in terms of the most popular identities at the event, PD at 17, that's actually way more wide than it used to be. One of the last Continentals, PD or HB was nearly half the field. This is not even half the field, it's about a third of the field. And then PD was a bigger number than this. So it's cool that things are actually spread out a fair bit more. And that 17-14 being the highest is actually relatively low, which is kind of cool. On the runner side, Arasana still doing well. It looks like people are, I think, struggling a bit. If you have feedback on how much harder it is to play Arasana in paper, specifically World Tree Arasana, I'd love to hear it. Sable coming back up, Lat being a 19. I don't know exactly what that is. I think that might just be the Europe. But Hoshiko back on 20 is kind of what I expected. If I think every Continental was in person for the last couple of weeks, I think you would actually see more of this because I think Hoshiko is much more manageable to play in person, and this is much easier to play online. Could be wrong. World Tree Arasana on paper is fine. I think is fine if you're a top cut player is probably accurate. HB is 41% of the field. Is that really what it is? Oh yeah, shit, 40 out of 100. Yeah, that is still pretty high. That's still pretty high. So let's look at some of the matchups. So this is all runner win rate. So basically the higher the number, the better for runner. The lower the number, the better for corp. So the most popular matchup probably is HB, PD versus Arasana and versus Hoshiko. Actually, you saw, where's Hoshiko? Down here, 63. So this is still slightly a PD winning matchup. And very notably, if you look at this lane, all of these numbers are relatively low, which means PD just has a good field. The worst win rate is against Sable being at 54%. That's totally doable. And you expect the sort of criminal aggression and Central's aggression to line up there. But you're having a positive win rate against everything else. Well, against, 3 deck lists. Wait, that's 33. This is 58. Arasana is not that good. That's actually kind of rough. Wait a second. That data point is actually worth a lot. If you only have a 40% win rate against one of the most popular shapers in the field, and that's a really high number, 48, that feels like that matchup just happened a lot more. But otherwise, you're doing pretty good. Besides the best decks in the format. Lol. Don't forget 419. We're going to forget 419. There's only 2 of them. This data doesn't matter. If we look at some of the other stuff, so what else is really popular on the corp side? ASA Group and Sports Medal. So ASA Group is here. Same sort of idea. You'll notice, wow, the ESA matchup, but the Arsana matchup goes from 58 to 40. That's a huge swing for a deck that like is somewhat similar, but going horizontal and producing multiple servers that Arsana has to run into seems a fair bit harder. That's a big difference on a win rate. Your win rate into Sable 2 is also a bit rough, which I'm kind of surprised. Because in theory, a lot of people say, right, like you play Criminal, you smash Centrals, Asa just has agendas in hand, you lose the game. And maybe the Asa decks are a bit better at scoring out. I think Hollowman is more popular than it was, but that's kind of surprising. A Lat, though, has a huge win rate difference there at 68%. No idea what that is about. I don't think Lat's particularly good into Asa group. Not sure what that is. I'll look at chat in a second. He'll say something smart about why that could be that. But that is honestly seems like a better spread against some of the more popular decks. And Lat was pretty well represented in Europe. Isn't this one win rate so low numbers are good for Corp? Yes, low numbers are good for Corp. So this is bad for Corp, but all these other numbers are relatively low. Like 42%, that's really good. That means we're winning more against the 54. And 38 versus, where was it? Yeah, 38 versus 40 versus 58. That's really good for the Corp. I'm talking about the Corp win rate. So lower number is better for Corp. To be clear, the spreadsheet is data from all of the big 24, not just, oh wait, this is all of EMEA? Oh, this is collated. That makes sense because that number is really high. So this is all Continentals. Oh shit. I thought we're going to get specifically EMEA. So this is folded in on top of everything else. Thank you, Kikai. Note that a lot of RE decks were at the 45 reg variety, which Ace is very happy to see, I think. Yeah, this is really difficult to look at these numbers because this is Arasanas and then the World Tree Arasanas is basically the back 2 tournaments of this. So this changed over time. Interesting. I'm surprised that Kit isn't doing that badly against Asa. I think Kit's ability into Asa makes sense. Because if Asa wants to make multiple servers, you can always face check their first server at no cost. And if you are on Spark and you're playing Lebisomu, you're like pretty quick to get your Breaker Suite down if you don't draw really poorly. That being said, though, wait, no, this matchup is terrible. Wait, that's really bad. I'm surprised that Kit is doing that badly. So you're good at contesting stuff, but like, let's look at a Kit deck. Tell me where you see the asset tech. Like, I don't, what does Nichan's list look like? Like, I just don't think the Kit decks are playing asset tech. Like, they're the sort of decks are like, oh, I'm going to break ice really good, which like power to them. I'm going to hit R&D with centrals, but like, I just don't think they have good ways to deal with assets. This probably has a, what's it called in it? A Miss Bones, but only one Miss Bones. Yeah, I don't know. That seems difficult. That seems hard to play into assets. I think Kit has a pretty bad win rate, I'd imagine, into assets in general. So let's look at Kit versus, I don't know, NEH. 1 game played? What the hell? Kit into, like, Kit has good win rates. The data is small. Terrible win rate into ASA. Not a great win rate into PD. Good op win rate. That's wild. I think if you Stavka one of those breakers, it's pretty bad. But there's just not a lot of Kit data out there. There's just not. The amount of disrespect on the 1x Parisha, was that there, Adam? Did I miss it? Oh, there is one. Yeah, okay. Well, 1 SMC, like, you just got to draw it. That's fascinating. Corp win rate is higher at the top. Interesting. What do you mean at the top? I was seeing Kit being very popular with newer players, and Ace is a weird matchup that has a lot of learning curve. I think Kit is, like, relatively popular with newer players. I think Kit is still a good deck. Like, there's a lot of good players playing Kit. So, like, it is, I think, one of those darling decks that at lower tables you still see Kit. And then at top tables, you see a couple sharks that are playing Kit. And Kit is pretty straightforward and can be pretty good. My benefit of, like, why to play Kit is that you can deal with face checks and you can deal with ice relatively cheaply. And, like, I don't know if like, it looks like a lot of the problems that are being presented are not so much ice-based. I'm surprised also these lists, 2 pinhole threading is what you want here for sure. This is on no pinhole threading. For what it's worth, I don't think Rahi, she did particularly good with this list. I think this list only won 3 games out of 7. I think it's a sick list, and we're going to try and play it later today. I'm a huge Rahi fan, but I don't think this list performed as much as Rahi's Corp did. I think it went 3 and 3 and 1. So, like, I don't know if this is a tier 1 Kit list, but it's obviously a functional Kit list, so we got to keep that in mind. You 3 into the depths? Oh yeah, that's cool. That's like Parisha, right? It's just hard to into the depths consistently in an asset matchup, right? It's better into Asa for sure, because you're gonna be in that situation more often than not. Lou, oh yeah, there's Lou. That's true. There's Lou. Maybe Lat is keeping down in the PD matchup by hand size. Yeah, classically that's a bad matchup. because PD is going to have 6 cards in hand. I don't think PD that often has 6 cards in hand if they're playing aggressively and trying to like beat the beat down. But like, yeah, that's obviously like not great. Yeah, it's not great. I love how like Lat, which generally runs like Stone Chip and gets free card draw, like the PE matchup, still kind of fair, it seems. But like the Lat matchup seems to be pretty good across the board. Like Isoak 75%. Oh, great. Not surprising. Ag Infusion 75%. RH 60%. Like none of these win rates are bad besides PD, but everything else that you're actually worried to play about, besides, well, NEH, but data needed. Thule, data needed. Oh man, taking core damage into Lat is like really bad. That can't be too surprising. But that seems pretty flat. Asmari, 23. Some of the Lat decks are a bit slow, and these Amari's decks are generally pretty fast and trying to close the game. So it can't be too surprising, I don't think. Core win rates were 51% in Swiss, 67% in the top cut. Okay, 51% closer to parity. Hell yeah, it's Data Mondi. How's it going? Regulat is really good, just too damn boring. It is a bit boring. I'm a big fan of the sort of Lat deck that like Sako is playing at Métropole Continentals because it plays very differently. Alex is saying the Sako Lat is amazing at avoiding all the other non-standard win cons, but it does lose a bit versus pure efficient rush behind ice. Yeah, it can just draw bad and like not have SMC and lose. I went into the event calling that DD Lat was a superb meta call and what I'd be on if it wasn't Busto, if World Tree wasn't Busto. Yeah, I'm interesting to see. I'm surprised we're not seeing more just like deep dive delivery systems. Like we saw Alex play that at NPC Boston, and I think it's relatively strong. You need to get slightly lucky, but there's a lot of decks that are just on only 3-pointers. So like not amazing into those. You need to get like an extra point somehow, and that can be tricky. Well, the Lou isn't on here at all. That knob ban just snapped any mulch variant out of existence. I think it did. I've seen some people try and make it work. I think I've seen more people have a bit more success playing that sort of engine in Hoshiko, and I think that deck is actually better than the amount of play it sees. I just don't think it is like the tier 1 option, like the first order optimal path to success. But there is literally no Lou on here, is there? Holy crap, there's no Lou on here? Wait, are there only this many runner identities? Whoa, there's literally no Lou? Rene? Reina? That's buck wild. I think I need to edit the spreadsheet to add Lou. Yeah, there must be at least a couple Lous. I don't think I've seen a Lou deck that's been doing well in Continentals, at least towards the top half, but there are 2 Lous in Bergamo, okay. But I don't want to edit the spreadsheet while you're streaming. Appreciate it. Sokka's Lat carried me at EMEA, went 5-2 with runner with my Corp 1-1-6. Yeah. Credits and Credits lives in my neighborhood. I see that guy once a year, usually at like global events. I'm so happy he's out in Italy having a good time. I don't think he finished the event, so he played a couple rounds, didn't go his way. Friday Chip should be played more. Yeah, you play Friday Chip. You probably play either Maw or likely Keiko, but yeah, Friday Chip is what you're meant to be playing. Silent Arbiter was on Lou. Okay. Talk about losing out. I'm still super new, and Alpi Swift DD Lat carried me hard. I think as a newer player, playing like deep dive, like that sort of very, very obvious understanding of what your game plan and win condition is very good for a new player. That you don't have to play something a bit more nuanced. And I mean this with all respect, right? Where you don't have to look at your breaker suite and recursion. You just say like, I'm gonna get my Swift down. I'm gonna run central servers. I'm gonna deep dive. I'm gonna have 2 extra clicks. Like that is a genuinely reasonable way to win games. Because you don't see a lot of people putting upgrades on centrals. You just have to also remember, like, the skill testing thing is how much pressure do you put on the remote server? Because you can't do nothing. Well, you probably shouldn't be able to win by doing nothing on the remote. Anyways, you can see this data. I need to look at just the EMEA data because I think it's very interesting. It's great that this is all put together for sure. So we have some good stats based off of win rates and stuff like that. How's Seb doing? Well, the numbers are too low to really tell what Seb is doing. We saw one Seb take 1 top cut in APAC, if I'm not mistaken. DD is a much better teaching tool than Jay Chinyo in that regard. Yes. Yeah, I think so. I think Jay Chinyo actually teaches bad Netrunner, which is like, there's agendas in HQ, run HQ, touch cards. Increasingly unhinged DMs from Credits going over deck tech leading up to EMEA was beautiful. Credits is like super creative deck building. He's the sort of guy that you end up in a car, like on the way there in a taxi, and then like he convinces himself he has to entirely change his deck. He's a good player. He plays weird stuff. He's a really nice dude. Okay. I honestly don't think I have that much to say about these numbers. You can look at them for sure. I need to worry about these We still have like nationals and stuff coming up. There's an upcoming NPC event, or there's East Coast Nationals coming up in a couple weeks. It's Canadian Nationals in Toronto in 2 weeks. So there's still a lot of people who want to look at this and figure out what's going on. I have no doubt we're going to see a balance change from the SPT sometime either after Intercontinentals or early August. Intercontinentals, I don't think the date was announced. I can confirm I'll be streaming the first couple rounds of it. I'm not available for all of it, which is a bit of a bummer, but that should be in the near future. That date should be announced sooner than later, I reckon. Those are always really, really fun. Thunderbolt, 0% win rate. That's good. I'm not going to open that, Kyle. I mean, he was on 1x Hermes and Lou was so confused when that hit the table. Oh, man. Okay. You want a rant? I have a rant. Man has 1x of 20 different cards in Lou. This needs some color coding. Yeah, there's a lot that could be done with this data. It's a bummer that Cobra is like so different in representing data compared to Aesop's tables that I can't easily collate data. I would have to like go through this and be like, look at all these numbers and be like PD 12. That I think means 4 wins. It could technically mean 3 ties and then just do this by hand, which kind of stinks. What do you mean that Jay teaches bad Netrunner? Run HQ, their agendas in HQ. Should you not be checking HQ? Senator, how's it going? So, Jaichinho. That's how much of that I can confidently spell. I think it's INHO. Yeah, that was right. I've seen a lot of players play Jaichinho, and they put it down, and then they totally forget about the other part of the game, which is like steal points. They just focus on this. And often, if you just build an aggressive criminal deck, especially if you're dealing with a game that has ice on the table, you are better off just touching cards, right? Like, you're better off just actually touching cards than doing the Jaichinho thing. It also makes people totally forget to run the remote server. I've seen a lot of Jaichinho players that'd be like, the remote server is not for me. I'm only running centrals. And then the corporation is like, okay, well, I'm just going to score agenda, and then just do that faster. Deep dive is like not that different, but the thing is like deep dive can close the game a lot sooner and you're kind of built in more likely to touch cards. I don't know. Mercury promotes good Netrunner? No, I don't think Mercury promotes good Netrunner. Well, sort of, but not really, but sort of. Mercury both promotes good Netrunner and also really bad Netrunner. Like Mercury promotes good Netrunner because touching centrals is good, but then like, are you inside jobbing HQ on turn 1? It's often correct. It's just like, that's a cursed play pattern, but it is kind of correct. Deep dive tends to wait to steal once from the remote before pivoting centrals. Yeah, deep dive decks, if they're played generally well, they will control the remote server and then pivot to deep dive for their win condition. We don't see that many decks that are just like very single-mindedly deep dive and only deep dive. Where like, that means you're playing all of Netrunner and then you have a finisher. A lot of Jaichinho decks are just like, finisher, and they forget to play the game. Merc does promote good fundamentals. They're just not very good. I don't know. It kind of does. But I feel like the players that are playing Mercury are often not doing this sort of calculations. Right? Like they see this text box. They see the inside job in hand and then they just send it. As opposed to like having this understanding, I'm unable to contest the remote server. So if there's agendas in HQ, they would probably be in the remote server. So this inside job on HQ is relatively bad. Like, it's a mixed bag because like understanding how to play Mercury well, you have to have a fundamental understanding of the flow of the game, divide by 5. Where are the agendas on this board state? What is the pressure I'm exerting? And how is my opponent going to interact with that? But a lot of folks play in Mercury by just saying slot machine, right? They just like, I don't know. An Estebrado R&D, I don't care. And then they sometimes steal 5 points. It's like the tactical use of a twinning, choosing when to use it is so much cooler than just saying Estebrado C2. Jai puts an 8 ball there. I think a lot of mercs have landed on R&D focus with Mary, yes. And that too. And Hermes, yeah. And just counting on Hermes to be your win condition is like super frustrating as a corporation to play against. Because to me, it feels like my opponent is just kind of luck sacking a bit because R&D is entirely random. And then the luck sack spirals into me losing even harder. That's a me problem. Like I have to get over that. But it's like, it feels like the worst kind of play pattern, which is always Hail Mary, and then the Hail Mary, when it cashes out so big. And then when it fails, I forget about it. So I don't even remember the times it whiffs. Jaichinho rules because the corp just has to respect. I don't think the corp has to respect it. I think when a Jaichinho comes down, you just play normal. When the second Jaichinho comes down, then you'd be like, okay. And then the third Jaichinho comes down, you should change your play pattern. I think if you respect Jaichinho at the cost of your win condition, which ends the game, That's probably a better way to respect JChinU. Now, that is talking about you playing the sort of like archetypal Netrunner Corp deck that has ice and upgrades and wants to score on a remote server. If you're playing assets, yeah, get effed. Like, that's going to be a problem. But when the first JChinU comes down, I don't care. I do not care. I just continue. I'd be like, I guess I have to win faster, not play defensive. And even then, just put 4 ice on it, R&D, and you're fine. Must be Tuesday. Shout out to the folks. Lazy, how's it going? JChinU with sec testing is probably kind of dunks on Santa's list at least. Yes, JChinU into that list is pretty good. Sec testing is really cool into that list too. We played with Not Yeti on stream a couple weeks ago. Second knife is a fire. Yeah, second knife is a problem. First knife, good luck. Spend all your resources getting your first knife in. I don't care. Knife decks are our last line of defense versus the Thule menace. Yeah, you can also play tech, but I hear you. Sounding a bit more like teaching bad Netrunner is closer to teaches a style of Netrunner I don't like. To be fair, I don't like it either. It's not that I don't like it, but it's like when newer players got noise. So back in the core set, the Anarch was noise, and noise has a really messed up ability. I got to play noise a couple weeks ago in like what's it called? Classique, and I love noise. But noise says whenever you install a virus program, the corp trashes the top card of R&D. And so a lot of newer players would get a noise deck and they would basically only install viruses and then run archives. They would fundamentally forget all the beauty and interesting parts of Netrunner. It would make them worse Netrunner players because their game plan was basically don't play Netrunner and hope running archives works. As opposed to be like, wait, they have an agenda in their remote server. I should pressure that to force them to res ice on that so then I can run R&D with my medium. Like, it made it very easy for newer players to play a style that was somewhat successful irregularly, but promoted bad fundamentals. And it's not that I don't like the play pattern. Noise is obviously not healthy. Sabotage is meant to be a more healthy version of this in years of hindsight. But it's like, to me, I'm just going to inside job HQ or inside job R&D and hope when that inside job probably should have gone on the remote server is the sort of thing that like I don't entirely like. I told you about noise, bro. Mill as a win con and is abysmal Netrunner. No, it can be fun. Noise can be fun. Like we played Classique, which was like noise versus Paulina. This is with a Faust in it. And like, I think that matchup is probably still noise favored, but I think that Classique matchup over the weekend that I hung out in a cabin last couple weeks ago, like that matchup got dozens of plays because that matchup is just kind of really fun. That deck had Caprice, it has interns, it has Jackson Howard. Like it was just a fun matchup. And that deck also has all the ice in the world that's just really annoying into Faust, like Viper and Eli 1.0. Like it's a cool matchup. Like cool noise games are really cool. I warned you, dog. Maybe I'll do 3x knives one sec testing. That helps Nanook not disappear. I gotta say, some old heads in my local chat were waxing nostalgic about noise, and I was like, wait, did you think Deja Vu install was good gameplay? It wasn't the worst. It wasn't great, but that's what I think, Jai. The folks who are just like installing viruses and not actually playing the game, they generally weren't winning their noise games. Panic Pal versus Shop Noise is so fun. Yeah. Solemn, how's it going? It's a fun matchup. Okay. Slight rant initiated. I want to be very clear at the start of this rant, just like every other time that we've said this sort of thing. I want to be very clear, this is not a criticism of the amazing folks that structured this event and put a lot of effort to make this event as phenomenal as it was. This is not a rant, an attack at any of these players that are clearly named on the screen here because they're phenomenal people, fantastic players. They deserve all the success that they worked really hard for. Okay? I just want to talk about double-sided Swiss again because it's been a while since we've talked about double-sided Swiss. The last major event that was double-sided Swiss was Worlds last year, and I need to go back to see the data. And then now this event was in double-sided Swiss. I think double-sided Swiss needs to be buried deep, deep, deep underground. And again, I think probably the organizers of this event had good reasons to play double-sided Swiss, choose a double-sided Swiss for this event. This is not an attack at them. This is the fact that fundamentally double-sided Swiss is such a flawed format. Again, not attacking any of these players that obviously deserve to be here because they just did the best they could do in the context of double-sided Swiss. There's 16 players here that made the top cut. They're named. Obviously, they're named. This is not an attack at them. How many of these players do you think played? Mind you, on day one was 7 rounds of double-sided Swiss. Okay, hold on. Let me rewind. Double-sided Swiss is the format that all Netrunner for largely since 2012 FFG has been in, and it is a format in which you're paired against an opponent who has the same standing as you, and you have 65 minutes to play both sides of a game. So you functionally play 2 games within a round, and then your scores are either 6 points, 3-3, 0-6, or some odd number if you actually get to a timed draw, which is unlikely but can happen. That's worth 1 point. Single-sided Swiss is something that's been in vogue for the last 2 years, largely thanks to Ysengren SC, who's been setting up things like Aesop's tables, and in that you have 40 minutes. You're paired against one opponent, you're told which side each of you are playing, and you have 40 minutes to play 1 round. So your results are either 0, 3 for the win, or 1 if you get a timed draw. Now, in theory, that is less efficient on time, because as you do the numbers, not only do you play 40 minutes for only 1 game as opposed to 65 for 2, but there's also more time between rounds for like pairing and moving and shuffling. So you fundamentally will play fewer games, sort of, kind of, not really. We'll get to that. Now, single-sided Swiss has become more and more popular. This is actually the only Continentals that wasn't in single-sided Swiss. My guess is the event organizers did double-sided Swiss because it's just fundamentally easier to move around 111 people only 6 times during a day as opposed to the 9 or 10 rounds you need for this. But that is the big difference. If you have any questions between DSS and SSS, let me ask. But SSS is much more popular now as much as a Worlds has not been run in a single-sided Swiss so far. Very importantly, single-sided Swiss pairs you always with somebody who... You always, at the end of the day, try and play the same amount of runner and corp games. So if you're thinking, well, if it's random what side I'm playing, it's not. In fact, the algorithm always pairs you against somebody who needs to pay the other side that you haven't played. And it actually prioritizes that mismatch higher than it prioritizes standings. So you're actually more likely to play somebody one standing up or one standing below if it comes down to it, so both of you play the same amount of runner and corp throughout a day. That's actually very important. Anyways, organizers did great. Not criticism of them. Let's just talk about double-sided Swiss because the numbers here are kind of astounding. Out of the 16 players that made the top cut, how many players do you think played all 14 matches you could expect someone to play? Mind you, with 7 rounds of double-sided Swiss, so you're expecting to play 7 runner games, 7 corp games. That's 14 games. How many of the players in the top 16 do you think played 14 games? There's a lot of chat talking about DSS. I need to catch up on it because I'm in rant mode. Less than half? Oh, it's much less than half. It's much less than half. Note that many people 2-for-1 ID because of the heat or the fatigue. We ran a late ended. Yeah, that will happen, Gilhard. That'll definitely happen. And again, that's just a double-sided Swiss thing or single-sided Swiss thing. I don't think anybody here who played fewer games should be reprimanded. They didn't. They're doing the best they can for themselves in the tournament structure. The answer is 1. Only 1 player in the top 16 played the 14 games you would expect a player to play to hit the top cut. On average, a player in the top 16 plays 11 games. That means on average, they're only playing 79% of the games you would expect them to play to hit the standings to say comfortably that they're in the top 16. Again, I'm not challenging this. These are very good players. They deserve to be here. Of course they do. But 79% of games played top 16 to make the top 16. A quarter of the players that made the top 16 played 8 games. They played 59% of the games at the tournament and still can make top cut. And if you're wondering why that is there's an thing called IDs and 2-for-1s that have to exist, and they have to be formally supported by OP because otherwise they would exist under the table, and that's the worst case. Players say because of 2-for-1 DSS is more likely to end players on an uneven corp runner split. Yes, 100%. Almost all the criticisms against single-sided Swiss are worse than double-sided Swiss. 4 of the players played 59% of the games. They barely played half of the games. There's a bunch of players here who played 8 games out of 14 and made the top cut. It is so bad. Why? How can that be the format to say, like, I played 8 games, I played a CO's worth of games, and then you can be a continental champion? Like, it's again, not an attack at the players because they did the smart thing. They made the top cut playing 8 games. It's just nonsense. It is so wild. Out of the top 32 players, only 6 of them played all 14 games. And that shouldn't be entirely surprising. Obviously, the top half, you're more likely to get away with an ID at some point. But again, on average, people in the top cut are only playing less than 80% of their games, and a quarter of the players play barely over 50% of the games expected in a tournament. I wanted to check whether these numbers lined up to see how different they were. So I looked at another major event. This was EMEA Continentals, which was single-sided Swiss. It's about the same. So I have my numbers on screen. I'm not going to show them because they have people's names attached to them. But here in single-sided Swiss, on average, people played 91% of their games. Because inherently in single-sided Swiss, for multiple reasons, you can't ID, and you obviously can't 2-for-1. You can ID a bit, but IDing is also inherently, and I didn't really realize this until recently, IDing in single-sided Swiss is much of a riskier proposition. Because the way that single-sided Swiss is structured, it prioritizes runner corp parity over prioritizing your ranking, which means there's actually a lot more upsets, where it's more likely that somebody will be paired up or down. So having this like very kind of calculable, very like easy to predict rise and fall of players, you can't do that easily with single-sided Swiss. I think that actually slaps. So it's much harder to ID when it comes to single-sided Swiss. Again, in single-sided Swiss, on average, players in the top cut play 91% of their games. The worst is there was one player in the top 16 that only played 70% of their games. And that was the player who came in first. It was Augustus. Augustus is great, but that makes sense because he was clearly above everyone. He could ID a bit more than you thought he could possibly do. The worst case for single-sided Swiss is 70%. The average for double-sided Swiss is 78%. The worst case is 59% of games are getting played and you're making the top cut. It is so nonsense. I can't stand double-sided Swiss. I don't get it. Ugh. That's mostly my rant. I'm gonna catch up on chat. I fundamentally don't understand where the format is not forcing the good players to play more games and is forcing people to play less games. Like, again, you play 8 games somehow and then you make the top cut. It is, oh man, it is something else. What is an ID in 2-for-1? This might be coming up in a chat. An ID is something that before the match, you sit down with your opponent and then you say like, hey, we want to bring up an ID. A judge comes over to make sure there's no collusion and you say, I want to suggest an ID. Your opponent says, we'll take the ID. You shake hands. The judge says that you both won one game. So instead of going 6-0, which is not good for you because it knocks you out of the potential cut, one of you could be knocked out of the cut. You just take a 3-3 as if you both won one game, and then that's good because the good players will stay relatively on top. Nobody's going to be knocked down pretty heavily. There's also a huge incentive to do 2-for-1s, which is the same thing. You call a judge over and say we want to do 2-for-1, which unfortunately when the results are 0, which doesn't help you, 3, which doesn't help you, 6, which will help you stay on top or push you into a cut or to prize support, a lot of players will 2-for-1. You call a judge over, the judge randomizes what side you're going to play, so there's a chance you can go into an event and actually only play 7 corp games, which double-sided Swiss like is nonsense. It's worse than single-sided Swiss for side balance. And then you can, whoever wins that wins both games and you only play 1 game. Those have to structurally be supported by OP because if not, people who are part of testing groups are just going to do it under the table. And throughout the day, you saw a lot of IDs and 2-for-1s for heat reasons because people on the same team, they don't want to knock each other out. Even in early rounds, 2 EA Sports players, for instance, could meet and be like, I don't want to knock you out. You don't want to knock me out. Let's just take a 3-3 and then we can continue on and hopefully have a better tournament from this point on. A lot of reason. If you agree to ID in 2-for-1s in a DSS tournament, are you still welcome to play a game in time? Yeah, you can do whatever you want. You have an hour and a half to do whatever you want. A lot of people will play for fun. I imagine a lot of the players at the top 16 won't. I think the more time that you see an ID or 2-for-1 and people still play it out is at lower to mid tables. Because a lot of tournaments will be like, if you make the top 50%, you'll get a prize support. So people who are like 60% below, they'll be like, we should 2-for-1 this, or we should ID this. Because if we ID this, we'll both probably be in 50%. We'll both get prize support. Do you still want to play the game for fun? And you do. That is pretty common. The tournament overran and I used my first ID to get a pizza. There's good reasons to ID, and it's not the problem with these players. They're IDing and 2-for-1ing in ways that make sense for them. Like, clearly, they're making it here. It's just, I don't understand how a tournament structure can support somebody playing 59% of the rounds and making a top cut. DSS is so messed up. It's so bad. The last event that was in DSS was World Championship 2023 in Barcelona. Looking at the numbers, and I want to come back and run the numbers, it didn't feel that bad. I think there was less IDing and less 2-for-1ing at Worlds. It was a bigger field, so it's a bit harder to calculate what you need to make the top cut. So technically it's a bit more of a competitive field, but it doesn't feel like it was this bad in terms of like the quantity of IDs and 2-for-1s. Citation obviously needed there. I want to go back and check if that's the case, but it did not feel as rough as this was. Good guy Augie brought me pizza between my 2-for-1s. Didn't Soccer ID round 1 of Worlds last year? Yeah, against Bridgman, which like exactly that's what IDs are for. Again, I want to be very clear. The organizers did a fantastic job at choosing the single-sided Swiss, double-sided Swiss. Like, it's a choice you can make for sure. I just don't understand how this is a format for big tournaments. Not a jab at the organizers. They did a fantastic job. I just think this format should not exist. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. I think the worst I've seen is a player 2-for-1ing all but one of their matches and rolling the same side for every 2-for-1. Yeah, it can happen. It can happen. And that's the thing. People complain. It'd be like, oh, you can sometimes play one more corp game than a runner game if single-sided Swiss plays an odd amount of rounds. And that's technically true. But if you're 2-for-1ing, the side that you're playing is entirely random. I actually think there's a lot of players who are not like, they don't think that they're competitive players. If you want to win a tournament, you should 2-for-1 on round 1. If you want to have a chance to make a top cut, you should be 2-for-1ing every single round. Because the chance of you winning 7 rounds, or more importantly, like this is the problem with the structure, 2-for-1 round 1, 2-for-1 round 2, 2-for-1 round 3. You just have to win 3 games in Netrunner, and then you can ID the rest of the day. And you might make top cut. Like you can literally get top cut by playing 3 games, 4 games, I think. If everyone agrees to a 2-for-1, which they probably won't, if they think they can beat you. But you know what I mean? One of the best features of SS is that it also sorts the fields by strength quickly. If you're a new player and you sit down versus Saki, you only take 1 loss in SS. Yeah, it is way less. And that's a problem too, is if you want to look at this and be like, oh, I came in 34th, I came in 70th, and want to have an idea of how good you are compared to the field, 2-for-1s just messes that up. When one of your wins or one of your losses is worth 2 win-loss points, the standings mean nothing at a certain point on the lower half, right? Like you can just lose your last 2-for-1 and then go from somebody who technically would be in the top 16 or top 32. You end up on like 60th. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I don't want to shame people who come in 60th, but like it's so wild. The standings are so damn volatile, specifically between like 16 and 50 and 60, because almost all those players 2-for-1 last round. And it is an absolute nightmare. Everyone's explaining IDs. Do we know the stats for how many of the top cut played every game for ACC and APAC? I only looked at ACC and it was, I didn't calculate how many played all of them, but on, actually, no, I do. In American Continentals, so in this American Continentals, in the top 16, nearly half of the players played every single round. That's kind of what you want to see. Like you want to see that at least half of these players played all of their games, which is 10 games to make the top cut. Then there was about 5 9s, 3 8s, and 1 7. So on average, they're playing over 90% of their games. That's what you expect. That's what you'd want. That makes sense. Also, when it comes to EMEA, and admittedly, there's 111 people that registered, and a lot of players didn't finish all their games because they dropped or it was too hot or any other reasons. Like a lot of people enter tournaments and don't finish the tournament. That's totally fine. But out of the 111 people that entered, one sec. "38 players played every single round. I think 10 of those are because of drops, but only 38 players actually played 14 games in Netrunner. It's just not the number you'd expect it to be. You'd think it'd be higher than that, and it's just not. Because it shouldn't. I vividly remember Augustus offering me the meeting of the mind handshake. Hi, would you like to ID? Kyle's always with the cursed yet intriguing take. Wait, what does Kyle say? Time for hybrid DSS for the first few rounds, SSS for the rest? No, I don't think so. I think you just 2-for-1 for the first rounds then. Oh man, isn't there a bit of prisoner's dilemma going on at the top 20% of a tournament where the more of them ID, the better it is for others to ID? Yes and no. Technically, yes, but you don't know what other people are doing. So if everyone IDs, you stay on top. But then the problem is everyone who's slightly below the cut is 2-for-1 aggressively. And if they're 2-for-1ing aggressively, you can't ID. So it comes to standings. But if these folks are 2-for-1ing, which of course they are, if they want to make the top cut, you can't ID super safely. If we look at the pairings, you can see like how much of the field, right? Like round 7, more people are IDing and 2-for-1ing than not. A lot of people are actually playing games. Now these tables are ranked in a, I don't think they're ranked exactly. Oh, there might be some accessibility tables. So some of the players that are at the top tables don't show up at the top. So it's hard to see who the top players are, but these are all like people trying to get the top cut. A bunch of these players made the top cut on a 2-for-1, which like, of course, that's how the system works. But it's really, really difficult. ID round 1 and win the tournament is some anime protagonist stuff. It happened at this event too. There's a couple players that I think there's one player that ID round 1 maybe and still won the thing or came to top 16. If you get swept round 1 in the con size event, you're probably correct to 2-for-1 most of the rest of the way. Yep. Yep. You can get swept round 1. A bunch of the players who made the top 16 got swept in 1 round. It's not the end of the world. Getting swept your first round is the worst case because it has the biggest impact on your strength of schedule. Humans are risk averse, so 2-for-1 early round is a mentally difficult strategy. It is, But if you don't think you're a competitive player, you should take the coin flip. Yeah. So could they limit each player to one ID or 2-for-1? No. I've seen a lot of suggestions over the years, like how do you deal with the IDing and 2-for-1ing? And the problem is there's no way to police it. Because if you police it in any way that doesn't explicitly support IDing and 2-for-1ing within the structure of the tournament event, people will just do it under the table. And that just benefits people who come in with testing teams and with groups and with friends. And you don't want to have that be the case. Because classically, people were IDing and 2-for-1ing before it was legitimized within the code of conduct and within the rules. They would just be like, oh, you're my friend. We'll just pretend we played our 2 games and get an IDs. And that's an advantage that they had access to that other players didn't. If you limit it to 1 per tournament, people will just do it under the table. The dishonest people will do. And you don't want to have a system that punishes you for being honest and playing within the rule structure. So it's just really hard to deal with. Just fundamentally, the fact that the scores are either 0, 3, and 6, and only one of those is valuable for half the field is like just a problem with double-sided Swiss that is incredibly difficult to fix. Besides, don't do double-sided Swiss. You could intentionally lose both games and nobody would notice exactly, yeah. "38 legends? Yeah, tell me about it." And again, this is not like, I want to be very clear. This is not saying that none of these people deserve to be here. You've seen these names. These are phenomenal Netrunner players. It's just like, you wish the structure was different. DSS also really throws off win rate stats after the fact unless stuff is being recorded and publicized really judiciously. What do you mean, Radish? Yeah, for NSG events, 2-for-1s and IDs are tracked, which is great. I like that a fair bit. It's not obvious. I kind of wish that this had presented itself the same way that ASOPs did, where you could see each side's win rates, stats like this, because that's really good data for me. They just collated in total score, which is fine. I just wish there was more. It just happens across some drama in the MTG space about the concept of things like IDs and such. There's apparently a hard rule in MTG OP that disallows explicitly talking or asking about things like IDs. I don't know about that. I've heard in Flesh and Blood that like prize support splits are really difficult to ask. There's like certain ways you can talk about it, but when the tournament has like thousands of dollars online for prize support, a lot of players won't play the finals. They won't play the finals. They'll just be like, I'll throw the game, you can win it, and then we just split the prize support evenly amongst the 2 of us. And you're not allowed to do that, even though that's like clearly the thing you should be doing in a lot of situations. Some players won't want to do it because they're there to win, but like for players who are trying to fund their travels, to fund their like professional card game career, like structures fall apart at some point. Good rant. I gotta get back to work. Thank you, Cephalopod. I don't know if Worlds is SSS or DSS if it's been confirmed. I need to go look back at the Worlds 2023 data to see how much DSS had an impact on how many players in the top cut played as many of their games as they can. I don't want to do DSS anymore. I want to get off this ride. It is not like, you have to ask yourself is what is the goal of a tournament? If the goal of the tournament is to figure out which players, like force them through the grinder, and after 14 games we can figure out who's on top, this is not doing it. I also like SSS because it introduces you to more people. The fact that you go to Bergamo and you only play against 7 different people, and only meet 7 people through gameplay, that could be a higher number. It could be 9 or 10 or 12. As much as the day will be longer, and SSS has a lot of other headaches in terms of organization, because there's just more pairing, more reports, more times rounds that can go to time. Like, it does make the day longer, but there's a lot of upsides to it. The thing you got to prevent are proposing an ID, then saying you didn't when you lose. Oh, gee, that's awful. Offering an ID and reporting that you swept. Oof. Anything that would decide a game of MTG that's not playing said game is forbidden gets you a game loss. I took a solemn oath to only TOSSS events. Yeah. IDW is different from intentional draws. What is an IDW, Joe? Basically, you can't use information. Sorry, you don't have access to in a game to choose a winner. I would be shocked if match trading isn't a thing at high levels of MTG. Match trading shows up everywhere. Oh, you know, it definitely is happening. How does it work in single-sided if people want ID? 0 points each? You get 1 point each, Orin. Which sucks. Like, you get 1 point. Which is worse because it actually puts your stats not that good. Like if you ID 2 games, you're actually behind a person who's won 1 game. Like, that's a really cool thing is IDs have a lower value in single-sided Swiss because every win's worth 3 points and ID is worth 1-1. It's like you drew. So fundamentally, you can probably ID at least once, sometimes ID twice if you're doing really, 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 really well. But if you ID 3 times, you basically you're 2 games behind everyone who played and won 3 games. So it's very risky. You can ID safely once, ID twice only if you're really, really far ahead. It's a much better system because it makes it much more of a risk proposition. Incorrectly determining a winner is IDW. Thank you. We basically play for honor. If 2-for-1s and IDs are forbidden by the rules and people still do it, then they're a lot less honor to play for. It makes me a bit sad. The thing is, like, you shouldn't have a system that's based off of people not, like, once you go to an event and realize that you could have made a top cut, but you didn't because you played, you know, if you want to say it in the honorable way, it just feels bad. And it's hard to police. Like, the system should just support it in a way that doesn't make people have to make that choice. I don't know. Like, obviously, and the thing is, like, I want to be very clear. When it comes to honor, if I'm playing at the World Championship 2024 and my right line is to 2-for-1 to make the top cut, I'm 2-for-1ing. Of course I am. Or I'm IDing. Of course I am. I don't think people who ID and 2-for-1 are dishonorable. I know that's not what you're saying. I know you're saying that if they did it under the table, and then that's a bit different. Obviously it is. But, like, I want to be very clear. All these folks did the right call to make the top cut. Of course they did. Yo, Ba, how'd it go? How's your tournament? I'm a big proponent of SSS. However, I actually disagree with the idea that you meet more people through it. As much as the number of opponents is more, a single game is often not enough to create a rapport between people. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe at an event like this where, like, people have their heads down. I know at least for, like, casual events, I like SSS a lot because you do play against more people. But I know what you mean. It's like, how long does it take to actually meet someone? For me, though, I would love to sit down across people that I've not met in person to be like, oh my God, you're so-and-so's handle. We played online. I've read your deck write-ups. And, like, that to me is enough to meet someone. So I hear what you say, though. This is why I would argue DSS is better for casual level events. The full set is important. I don't even think for casual events, DSS is better. Because if you go to a casual event that's 3 rounds and you have an odd number of player, like, you're sitting out for an hour and 10, as opposed to sitting out for 40 minutes. Like, even, like, very specifically, DSS, to me, the only use case is super casual events that have an even amount of players. Because as soon as you have an odd amount of player, I think it behooves you to do 40-minute rounds and play single-sided. So somebody doesn't show up for a 3-round tournament and sits out, like, 3 players are only playing 2 rounds. Like, what a Tuesday night. Yeah, getting a buy in DSS, exactly. It's rough. It's really rough when you have an odd amount of players. Especially because the buy goes to the person who's not doing well. So, like, oh, you showed up to Netrunner, you lost your first round because you're a newer player. You're not going to play round 2. You'll play round 3. It's like, it's exactly the opposite of what you want it to be. I would 100% ID in 2-for-1 if they would be still outlawed, and so would most top players, I think. It's an uncatchable crime. Axel, you've had some takes on streams about making some illegal plays in jest. I don't know if I would. I honestly don't know if I would. I'd hope to say that I wouldn't, but obviously it's hard to tell. Hey, Bubbles, congratulations as well. But as a point, if I just played my corp games against my Swiss opponents, I wouldn't have had much time to get to know them since they were all dead by turn 5. Okay, yeah, bring punitive as Mar. Yeah, sure. The problem is I'm not meeting anyone. Okay. That's really funny. What system are you using for NAMPC Montreal? SSS, 100%. Last year when we did Montreal Nationals, we did like 10 rounds of SSS, which is clearly way too long. So they've changed the recommendations. So it'll be a reasonable amount of SSS, but it'll be SSS. Smaller events, I've always used myself as the buy avoider. If there's an odd number of players, I join in to make sure there's no buy. Oh, if you're not playing Cror, yeah. Yeah, you're right, though. I think the organizer probably should not play if it's an odd amount of players, but some people won't do that. And SSS, maybe you have more time to talk after the game. Maybe you do. Maybe you do. Anyways, that's my rant. I think DSS is just mega cursed. I want to see the world stats because it didn't feel that bad. This one looked worse. It did look worse. Not that the event wasn't amazing. Not that everyone did a great job. Phenomenal. Not an attack on any of the players. It's just fundamentally as a format, it seems hella flawed. Let's play some Netrunner. I want to play Rahi's deck. It looks really fun. We get to play Hyperbaric. It's a code gate that gets up to strength. And then eventually, is it better than Buzzsaw? I don't know. I don't think so, but it's a really fun card to play. The idea here is that we have Mantle. Mantle is really good with twinning. I'm honestly thinking of putting 1 Mantle into Azdex, even if I'm not playing Stealth, just as a way to be like, this is my 2 influence worst Chesva, but I can charge twinning twice as fast. It kind of sounds cool. It kind of does sound cool. Otherwise, we have Onacom. We have, we don't get our breakers too consistently unless we like hit them with the rigging up. I'm worried that Hyperbaric early, because you need an early decoder, it's going to be pretty expensive. We don't actually even have Overclock, which I'm surprised. I think Overclock is really good with Hyperbaric, but that's okay. We have Trick Shot. That's like Overclock at home. And then we can charge this up and go. We're probably not great into assets. I think right now it's a pretty weird week because this is the deck list of the week. And I've played against this. I was doing some capture for Alphabet Series on Sunday, and I played against a really lovely person who was like, do you want to play against a good deck or do you want to play against some fun deck? And I'll be like, I'm fine for a good deck. Like, I'll play against PD. And then it's this, which like turns out good has a really wide thing. When someone says a good deck, I assume they meant like, you know, something more conventional, but not that this deck isn't good. It's very, very good. But like playing against this on JNet, I'd rather not. Because I think this is not that interesting not that fun to play against, and it mostly comes down to tech and like what your deck has into it more than how you play around it. It feels. That's a take of me not having that much experience into the deck, but like, is everyone having a fun week out there? I'd rather not play against this deck, I'll be honest. But I think we're gonna have a pretty rough Thule matchup. Rahi's saying, I recommend swapping Pressure Spike with Gauss if you're keeping Simulchip. Otherwise, swap Simulchip with Overclock. Oh, very cool. I'll try it as printed because I don't think I played enough Pressure Spike, and I think it's slightly better than I think it is. Harsh take? No, it's like, it's a good Thule deck. Like, it's really good. It's just like, it's not what I bring to casuals, and when I play on JNet casual, I want casual. I think running to the Thule deck is an interesting matchup to learn. It is, but it's not fun. Like, this is the sort of deck you just hope that people forget exists, the Thule deck. If IDs were in sanction, I would certainly never say anything, but in the second round against a friend, I would be hard to not sandbag some if I lost. I can't make cut or want to have cut locked. Yeah, I think some people will just sandbag and not even tell their friends. Like, they'll just be like, oops, I lost. You go get it, buddy. Yeah, you definitely won't say it publicly. The runner has to play near perfectly without tech or get lucky on agendas. Accesses, you need to get lucky. Like, if false leads get through, you're cooked. If you just take one core damage, you're largely cooked. Having tech really helps. Why won't it? Rahi, where's your deck list? I think I never installed Pressure Spike in EMEA. Interesting. That kind of makes sense. Yeah, I hear you, right? Your kit. Why do you need to install that? You have a good hyperbaric. Yeah, I'll make the change. False lead is cursed? Yeah, false lead is cursed. I think false lead is hella cursed. I played a version of Fun Steve into Thule. I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me. I don't know. Is that good? Is it that good to be like, you have no money? Actually, why did I do it like that? I can just do it like this. Like this. Mind you, if you don't know, Rahi is the person behind Cyberfeeder. Rahi is incredible. Does a lot of great work. Making Netrunner as accessible as possible. So we're huge Rahi stands here. When we saw Rahi was top of Swiss, we were very, very happy. I'm looking to have folks help playtest their deck by playing what is competitive. What do you recommend? PD. My litmus test is, can it beat PD? Or does it feel okay against PD? I'm in this weird camp of people that if Netrunner was just PD, I'd be like, I'm good with this, which is so weird to me. But like, PD is obviously really good, arguably unfair. But to me, it's just like the archetypal, I'm going to present some problems to you relatively quickly. Can you deal with those problems? Hey, Lamilla. Hey, Andre. I'm about to climb into bed. I won't be chatting, but I'm stoked to have the stream up while I try to crash. Hope you're doing well. What are we playing today? Hey, it's been a moment. Hopefully you're doing okay. We're playing, this is a stealth kit, so a bit of a throwback. Rahi, she took top of Swiss at EMEA Continentals, which is just this weekend. Mind you, we want to watch EMEA Continentals. Is up on Twitch. When I checked, day 2 wasn't saved. Did I miss it? Can someone confirm it's up there? But it looks cool. Unfair, fair, Netrunner. Yeah, it's like, you know what the problems are going to be. The decisions are very like interesting. The amount of agency you have is relatively high. And I don't have to trash 25 assets. Like, it's the best of both worlds. And they're not going to play Oppo Research. It's like everything I want. It's up now. Okay, thank you. Is PD the new ETF? Always has been. Hey, Dirty Deeds, good morning. Hey. PD is my least favorite corp to play against, but that might be because my first CO chromatically murdered me like 4 times. Yeah, the problem is you're playing against chromatically. You can give chromatically a Magic the Gathering deck and he'd figure out how to win a game of Netrunner. No, not at all. Yeah, as you will. I appreciate that. We've been having trouble with Twitch marking videos as private automatically. Someone has to flip a switch on every single one. Oh, that might be in your settings. I know parts of the VOD have been blanked because of music copyright. Is that because there's background music? Like you could pick up ambient music? Because I don't think NSG's playing like top 40. Thanks, you too. All right, we have a hyperbaric. We have the simul chip. We have the SMC. We have creative commission. So SMC means that we can easily go get are Parisha, if this is asset moving. This hand seems fine. Rahi or anyone really, my programming contract is ending after this month, so I'm going to have a lot of volunteer if y'all need some help. Oh, super cool, Mondi. Hopefully that's a good ending your contract and you're not like worried about it, but glad you're offering. Not a keep for me. Shit. What do we want? Card draw? I'm doing all right, thanks. Lots of Elden Ring. Occasionally wedding planning. Yo, cool. For your wedding or other people's weddings? Either way, congratulations. That's awesome. All right, it looks like it's a new Vang assets. We're just going to trash the hearts and minds and forget everything else. SMC into Parisha is pay 2, gain 2. I'm going to do it. Into the Depths needs ice. This is a more nuanced Bravado. It's not as good. Raindrops is my favorite one, I think. One face down. I don't think we're going to need this SMC for anything besides Parisha. Founder. So we can spend 3 credits trashing this. Then we can still creative commission. Founder. Got him. Creative. Okay, we're going to need some card draw, that's for sure. SMC is there mostly for Parisha. Yeah, we're lucky that we had that. I was pretty sure when Fixby was saying like I could play PD, that meant that he was on assets, because that's the sort of thing you have to feel apologetic about sometimes. So the SMC kit felt a bit better. Okay. Well, we gotta eventually deal. I think we can. So how expensive could this card be? Worst case would be like a Sphere. That would be super surprising. So I think we'll run first and then we'll Parisha second. Or sorry, Sure Gamble second and third. Son of a. What the hell, man? There's no 2 table snares. PD is not the new ETF? No, it is, Tron. Got him. All right, we could die to Public Trail end the line. Oh no, Fixby has no money. It cost 5? Yeah, he could do credit Public Trail end the line. Good old Nuvum table snare. Balance rope and decklist or whatever. I want to like Into the Depths so badly because it's neat, but boy, is it hard to use compared to Raindrops or Bravado. It is. It is slightly hard to use. The problem with it too is like the use case is very gated behind setup, right? Like Bravado and Raindrops are playable turn 1. They're very good turn 1. And Into the Depths is inherently like not obviously a 3x card because you have to get through ice, right? So it's just not great. It's way harder to land. Yeah. Played ETF in the draft event on day 2 and was routinely making 20 credits a game. Yeah, but you only have to get 20 credits a game because you can't win on turn 7. Tron, how's your GOAT games going? ITT doesn't qualify as Bravado in my mind. It needs a successful run trick shot as Shaper Bravado. Yeah, I think that's, well, that's because this wasn't. I think their intention was in this set, there's more Bravados for other factions. We should run the snare again, because then Fixby has to pay 4 credits, right? We should run archives. Are we going to die to punitive? I don't think so. Crap. We need breakers. Dirty Laundry denies a clickless 3 credits. I mean, when in Rome. Ooh, Spin Doctor off the top. Okay. Not doing much here. We're going to need to get our breaker down and then trick shot. And by breaker, I mean hyperbaric. On 4 credits, we could probably face check. There's nothing that hurts us. Oh. We did not make that better. I honestly think Armed Asset Protection is worse than Extract. Imagine extracting here for 6 credits, trashing a snare. But people want to play this because it looks like a Nuvum card. It is still secretly really bad. It was a 3 credit econ card. You can play Extract. You can chip into Hyperbaric if you need to. Yeah, but I don't want to trash a Parisha. My wedding. Congratulations, October. Marrying my girlfriend of 14 years, finally. We were high school sweethearts and only took this long, really, because weddings and rent are both expensive. Yo, congratulations to both of you. That's adorable. I'm super stoked. Hope you all having a fun time. And it's not like a stressful, you know, organization thing. That's sick. Yeah, chat's stoked too. Okay. Charging twinning is tricky in this deck. We don't. Oh, we have Mantle. That's really good. We can boost for fun, but we don't have prepaid. Yeah, it is so sweet. So are we making a successful run here on 9 credits? Now we can hit like a hammer. That's not great. Nuka draw is a bit much. Nuka draw, thinking. We go down to 4 Thumblong. One more time. We go down to 4. We draw up. We're at 7. And then we do creative discard a card. That seems fine. Like we have to do this anyways. This brings back the Subliminal, which is not great. We could also rigging up the Onicom. That technically doesn't work because we've dieseled already. So I think we just creative here. You want a rigging up Onicom. The cool thing is the Onicom comes in and then the rigging up actually draws a card. It's kind of hella sick. But I think we'll just do that. I think we'll throw out the ITDT. The Simul chip is like kind of useful if we think this is an SDS drone deployment deck, which kind of suggests. So that's, I'm going to get rid of the ITD. Proper bedtime. Happy hunting, dude. Thanks for the well wishes. Yeah. Hey, cheers. Get some sleep, huh? Rigging Onicom is actually awesome. Yeah, it is really fun. It's just a really fun combination. I wish this card saw more play, and or I wish it wasn't cursed the way charge worked, but whatever. Works with Bionicom as well. Oh, that's really cool. So I honestly don't think we do rigging up Onicom. I think we start with Nuka because we want to find our Hyperbaric. So we can probably do rigging up Hyperbaric and then Trickshot. The problem with Trickshot is Kit's only first code gate a turn, so like it's not that good. So we can run this. What's the highest strength ice we're imagining we're running into? I don't know. I guess we do Mantle run it. This is a cool program suite. Just a lot of numbers on stuff. Valen Chow. Uh-oh, is the only 6 strength code gate in the Waylands. Crap. That's bad. I think we might just let this fire, thinking. At a minimum, we boost 1 with the Mantle. So now we have 9. How much is it to boost? Bad Pub is amazing for a deck. I don't think it's that great. Like, ideally, we charge the Hyperbaric exactly with the Trick Shot. I don't think it actually is as good as it might look. So if we boost this, it costs 2, 4, 6. I think we might boost this. This looks like an agenda. So we have to place 3 more power counters. 2, 4, 6. Oh god, an SDS is gonna be really bad. So we go 2 for 6. That drops us to 3. We break 2 of them, and then we access so we can still trash with pre-shot. I'm gonna do it. Financially, how do we get back into the game is the question. That's future Andre's problem. The deck wants to go 2 Mantle ASAP, but Bad Pub gets you halfway there. Yeah, well now I boosted my Hyperbaric to... Yeah, there you go. We needed that. Now I boosted my Hyperbaric to the point. So this deck is on SDS Basalt, so we can't let him score out. And now that we got a 1-pointer, we're not worried about 6-point punitive. The problem is we don't have Econ here, so the best case is like rigging up Onicom, hopefully draw into money. Which would have to be creative. I think we played 2 creatives already. 2 creatives, so we're gonna be drawing dirty laundry. Shit. Okay, we can let him score that out. Public Trail Retribution? There's no way. Alright. You can have that. We don't care. So we can run archives. We want to just keep our money up. Not much we can do really here. We could just trick shot it actually with bad publicity. It seems pretty good, but then we want 20 down. So I think next turn we do like credit, sure gamble, 20 trick shot. Just trick shot, why let him score? Because if we steal this, we probably die to punitive. I don't think we care if he scores a blank CityWorks project. Like, I don't want to take the damage. We'll probably die to punitive. But we don't have to die to punitive. If he scores it, it's expensive. He's not scoring it. Yeah, that's good. This looks like Lady Killer. Yeah, we've seen these sort of like decks. Mind you, the one that Nick Mason published is very similar to this. It wasn't on Balanchow though. Oh, it was actually. It was. This might be Nick's deck. The Lads Killer one. And before Neurospike? Yeah, we have Onicom. It's like kind of hard if we have a full hand, but it could be. It definitely could be. I think we want to consider running here because of Subliminal. I don't think that list had a snare though. Andrea, how's it going? Good evening. So we could do... Do we do twinning trick shot? We've already played an event. I don't think we do much here. I think we just do twinning. Double Neurospike, we die. I just don't want to steal an agenda. If we steal an agenda, we lose. How likely is to steal an agenda? I think we do this. With bad publicity, and we just jack out. So you don't get back the thing, the Subliminal. We charge our twinning. We could die to exactly double Neurospike. It seems unlikely. It's a 54 card deck. Like, you don't give respect to 2 card combos like that. So we do Nuka, use Nuka, probably trick shot. And we'll go from there. We'll try and lock the deck. Hey, Prenick, how's it going? Oh, that's important. So now if we can win here, we can win there. Yeah, we're giving respect to 2x punitive. A single punitive would kill us because it takes 4 damage, right? How was your visit to EMEA? All right, send it. So with Nuka, we can probably steal this. It's 3 damage and still Nuka up. If we steal 3-pointer here, we win the game. Seems good that this code gate is now out here. Data loops are 3 of in the decks. You could have drawn back on the original turn. I think it would be hard. Oh, code gate. Love me a code gate. We actually should use the bad pub before we use the mantle because the bad pub is for each of these runs. So we probably shouldn't have used the mantle. That's good for twinning. Spin Doctor. Get trashed. Armed. NGO. Get trashed. Oh, we should use our bad pub, actually. We shouldn't have trashed that from hand. All code gates into kit? Yeah, I know. Yeah. It looks like his hand's not very good. Yeah, we mismanaged that. We should have used the bad publicity. It's not going to actually matter because we're breaking all of this for all our credits. And then I think we just do Nuka and hope that we have events in hand. Yep. Oh, that's good. I still think we Nuka just to keep events in hand. Yeah, now we don't die to double punitive here. It's impossible. Because we'll always have 6 cards in hand. Because we have 3 events. All right, and now we're on game point, which is pretty frightening for using the Nuvang ability. We've seen 2 Spin Doctors out. We should know what's coming off at the top of the deck. It was Armed Acid Protection, and then there's a Winchester coming up eventually. The 2 face-ups means install advance. We've seen NGO fronts, so we still have to consider running it. Luckily, running this is technically nearly free. So we're in a pretty good spot here. We're in a pretty good spot. Ah! We're throwing the book. Well, if it isn't the book. So in theory, we could die to punitive into maybe Angelique. But you would do the Angelique. It doesn't matter. You don't do it first. I don't actually like tempo damage into Jinteki, into Shaper, because of like Simulchip. Admittedly, we don't have a Simulchip yet. But like, we're pretty good from the spot. Oh, that was the only event. Oh man, it was a resource hardware event, so that looked closer than it was. I had 3 events in hand, so I was 100% safe. Yeah, it looked better than it was because it was like non-event. Mind you, Anacom is the reason because when an event is trashed, no matter how, we draw. Yeah, it was calling our Anacom bluff for sure. But I don't think it was the right choice. That being said, like, it wasn't that expensive. It only cost 1 credit with Nuvang. And on top of that, like, they're now totally dead cards. So, yeah, if you whiff there, you win. I think paying 1 credit for having a chance is, like, not unreasonable. There's the armed asset, so we don't know the top of the deck. Oh, no, we know Winchester. You miss 100% of the shots. You don't aim at Netrunner. Gretzky. Draw. Okay, so we know Winchester in hand, top of R&D is unknown. Let's go. We actually have no recursion, so Trickshot sees more cards than we need. Mantle's actually also extraneous. I think we just do Mantle run. We can clear a snare tag, and then we can creative commission. So this is where the bad publicity is like actually not mattering. We're just doing this to charge the twinning. They trashed the Winchester on the punitive? Oh, did they? I didn't follow. So they have an unknown in hand. Thank you. Hammer, hedge fund. Hammer's really bad for us. Oh shit, I forgot how bad Hammer was. Because Hammer is, we need a sentry breaker. Is a punitive the only thing they have to flatline? Maybe. The fact that they have snare might suggest they also have public trail to end the line. So if that's the case, we just need to keep 4 cards in hand. Yeah, but Hammer's gonna be a problem for us. That's a hard one to deal with. That's the Hammer. Time to find the cheetah. Oh yeah, we bypass it. That's actually sick. We have 12 cards left. How hard could it be to find? We probably should run HQ here, but could be another Hammer. Do we ITD server 5 to get the cheetah? I think we do. Kind of just like the non-reg hate cards. Non-reg stuff is already worse than the default Doom rig. What do you mean, Gyro? Missed 20 chance? Oh yeah, we could have twinninged on his turn. 100%. Yeah, we should be twinning on his turn as well. Very, very good shout. As much as it costs us a credit, it's totally fine. Don't forget to boost your hyperbaric. Yeah. Such is playing on stream. Thank you, though. So we can break this for free. We're going to use one of these credits and then one bad publicity in one so that we can have the mantle on our turn. If we install the second mantle, it's not necessary. ITD into R&D is just straight better. If it's we know this is a hammer, so I don't think we want to do it. Like, the hammer is just kind of bad for us. I'm glad we found a 6 strength code gate and don't feel that bad about it. Yeah, this is definitely a hammer, so I don't want to run into it. I think we just do credit, dirty laundry, R&D. I mean archives, excuse me. We need 2 stealth for this, so our MU is full. We'll trash the Parisha for the mantle. It looks like it's not an asset list. The Winchester was thrown out. Another hammer was thrown out. And then on their turn, we'll boost the after image now. Cool. What I mean is, if they're already so hard to make a different rig work, I feel it's rare to come up with something that isn't just worse than play 4 Cleaver Tyrant. I agree with you, yeah. The sort of like text on Hagen and the hammer is not good because it punishes, you know, the sort of rigs that are unconventional. Like, I think you have a point there. I think it's a hard line to walk between. D is really good for making free twin counters. Yeah, now we boost for 1. We don't actually have to run this, so I won't. I think it's an Angelique. I don't think we care to run it. I think we're just going to like hammer R&D and see a bunch of cards here. So if that's the case, I don't think we need a third mantle. We're just going to rig up. Assuming this would be a 6 credit hammer, which with the after image res, you still got to do it. You have to tax us out in some way. Oh, okay. No, you don't. An SDS going through will be a problem for us. Hammer R&D, yeah, you're right. Let's see all the cards. NGO front. We'll use our bad publicity first. Descent, slash and burn. Oh yeah, this is definitely Nick's list. Border control. I honestly don't want to run this. I think it's an Angelique. And we only have so many cards. This feels like a waste. I think we should run HQ. I'm not running it. Like, it's an Angelique. What else is it? We've seen 3 Rashidas. 2 Spin Doctors. There's no way we run it. Get out. We run HQ. Oh no, we need to run HQ. Respect there. Another trust? It could be another trust, but trust doesn't matter. Oh, that actually fires. I forgot. Yeah, that's okay. Oh, Pelungi. Don't forget you can bypass hammer now. Yeah, that's exactly why we needed to keep 2 stealth credits as a bypass hammer, which is why Fixed B didn't res it. Yeah, maybe it is a 1-pointer, but I think we're okay if that's the case. How's it going, Tuck? Trust doesn't matter. 2024. It's technically a platform. Okay, so that was, I'm not doing a good job. A Descent was mandatory drawn. A border control is coming up. That has to be an Angelique. Running HQ is reasonable. We should flush HQ for 3. You only need 1 mantle if you pay 1 extra to actually break them. Oh, instead of the double boost. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we only need 1 mantle if we boost break. The first click was draw BC. Okay, so this is probably BC. Maybe that's the last Spin Doctor. I'm not doing a good job tracking. Our money is dried up. We actually do run out of money. Ideally, though, we're breaking everything for free. But we played 3 gambles. We have 1 more dirty laundry. We have yeah, we actually have to click for credits a lot. Luckily, we're breaking for free. So the top of the deck, it was mandatory draw. So the top of R&D is entirely unknown. I want to sweep HQ first. After image breaks 2 subroutines for $1. Yeah, and 1 for 2 strength. Like, the numbers on it are just genuinely good. 3 virtual Rozekis. Yeah, and bad pub. And I'm still gonna complain. Watch me. Kudos on keeping up with the stream while playing. We spent years practicing the skill for getting to boost our twinning mantle on while we're talking to chat. But it is something that is admittedly slightly harder than it looks. But luckily we have a lot of experience doing it. I actually do think I play better, not so much when I'm talking to chat, but when I'm explaining what I'm doing, which is like half of the stream. So like when I'm recording gameplay, I narrate why I'm thinking what. It actually helps you focus, I think. Let's see everything. Yeah, it has to be in there. Oh yeah, they are on there. Good game. The kit deck is very cool. It's neat. Stealth is fun. We got only 48 credits. A lot of that will be bad publicity money. Not much money, again, with this rig. Thanks for the game. This is the Goldbrander list. Imagine breaking a Nazi for 4 with after image when you could be breaking with 3 with Echelon Turbine. Actually, like at the end of the day, Hyperbaric is not like in this matchup because we have 6 strength code gates. It is super comparable to Buzzsaw Turbine, and it's much weaker to program destruction. Like it's not always obviously the correct thing to be doing, but it is good enough. It seems cool. It's a mixed list. I've added some spice. Ooh, very cool. Let's see if we're right about this. You got 2 of 4 for free though. I think the rigging up could be replaced by telework. I like rigging up more. I want to play more rigging up. I just love rigging up. It's a pet card, but I could see telework making sense in the deck. Yeah, no, nice. We called it. It wasn't on Angelique and Server 5. We're lucky to not run it. No Thule Santa, come back on Thursday. Man, you're having an impact on how fun JNet Casual is this week, let me tell you. But congrats on the deck list of the week. Imagine breaking a Nazi for 3 with Echelon Turbine. We could be breaking it for 2 with After Image Turbine. You could play Turbine in this list. The problem is like Stealth is really good at boosting. Yeah. Hammer was cool for a minute. Thanks, you too. Cool. I wonder why this Cerebral Overrider matters. It's like probably to the punitive lands. What kind of monster plays Cerebral? Monster that wants to hurt you. Hurt you bad, bah. Let's go. Hey, Daves. How's it going? Dave's played at EMEA. Uh-oh. This is going to be the punitive list. This is going to be the EA Sports list. So we're looking at Neurospike and or... Mind you, this deck doesn't have Pinhole, but 10 Influence or whatever. It has Punitive, it has Neurospike, and or it has the other one. The one that hurts you with core damage. The core damage one you can technically beat if you have Stone Ship sometimes. And I think Rahi was talking about playing Stone Ship. Hey, great to hear. So we need to go as fast as possible because this deck is trying to win as fast as possible. And we need to keep our money up because it's on Punitive. It will be 2x dupes out. Okay. Memory Diamond Burner this match. Oh yeah, the 1x burner is pretty okay. I don't love this hand. It has money, but it doesn't have the breaker. I don't know how quickly this game can go. Took a mulligan though. That's a good start. Tell the audience about being on 3 mitosis and Thule. Speaking of which, I have a board state photo which I need to show you, Santa. Okay. Fix me, good game. Bob played on EMEA. He was doing pretty well. I think he barely missed the cut. He was like in the sort of 2-for-1 contention bracket. He did pretty great. Okay. I don't love this hand. We have no card draw. We have no tech cards. We have no breaker. It has good money though, which is fine. This is comparable. With Degree Mills, or sorry, it's Re-Education send a message, so we don't need to respect Degree Mill. My big deal outfit got sniped on Deck List of the Week twice. Sorry. Oof, sudden commandment into attitude adjustment. You don't often see that. Send a message and Re-Education got shuffled back, so hand management. This is like such a more poisonous spin doctor. I don't know why. Like, this is the worst option. So no surprise. Gain 4 credits. Hide the agendas. Classic. I was on my Tosis Thule. Yoy. They're going to call event and we'll say how about 4 of them? Yeah. It is what it is. Call event. Okay, so don't know what this is. Probably Rashida. Could be a spin doctor. I think our play is probably play all the events. So we can do Dirty Laundry, check server 1, not a spin doctor Dirty Laundry. Yeah, we'll start here. Send a message early would be fine. Sick. I mean, you were meant to shuffle. Magnet Res is like the best case for us for sure. So I'm assuming this is a spin doctor. Skill issue. Cell phone. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, it's a spin doctor, so that's fine. Pay due to trash this. I actually don't know in the matchup how much is worth trashing this. I don't think he's going to use this to cycle his hand. I think he has another spin doctor in hand. Probably it's on YDL, I'm assuming. So drawing a lot is okay. I think we can afford to trash this here. Now it's either Sure Gamble Creative. I don't think we care if he has 2 more credits. Going down to low cards in hand is not good. I think we need to just weave and draw. Okay, that's good. And we'll just creative. Yeah, sometimes it's just that easy. My toast is still happy he didn't have to play against you on Saturday. Gamble creative. I want a bit of draw because like he can put the card on the table relatively quick. Wow, is sudden commandment good? Like this seems okay. It's a credit premium. You're just drawing cards. Yeah, there you go, YDL. That's fine. Okay, money doesn't matter. So if this gets iced up, how soon do we lose? Not that soon, but this is why you need a draw. Like we don't just need money. We also didn't get punitive. I forgot. We could have lost a punitive on that turn. So that's not great. So on 11 credit, it's starting. Yeah, I know. I forgot how fast that can be. Shit, this is the problem with ITD as a 3-up. I don't love it because it inherently is a bit tricky. So we can just try and keep our money up. So we can do dirty laundry R&D and then sure gamble, play 2 events. Sadievna is coming up. I don't think we want to run into what's it called? Into a Hydra, but we need to at least keep our money up. We have no tech. Rashida, okay, that's pretty good. Nobody can change my mind, though, that this deck just loses to World Tree Woo, though. I think if you don't set up quickly, you can lose. But, like, I don't think World Tree Woo can deal with 3 ice this quickly. And I don't think you have enough pressure. I think Stargate's a better card than Amount of Placing. No Hydra. Oh, right. This is like Klevetnik and, like, Magnet. What's the worst face check? Mesna Chesvo? One of these is a Sadievna. We don't care about this. Remote is probably Piranhas. I don't know if this deck is on Piranhas. Okay, the one SMC is good. So we can SMC Trick Shot. We can run HQ. There's a chance there's agendas in there. 3x Piranhas. Okay, 6 strength code gates. And then we can Into the Depths HQ, but I'm not sure if it's that valuable. Someone on the weekend even mentioned Mad Dash's back pro punitive deck. Yeah, Mad Dash was present at the event. It's pretty good. I think that's another Rashida. Do we run the remote server? Ping. Okay. We can run server 2 at a minimum to boost the Hyperbaric 1. If it's a Sadievna, we can boost break. We want to force some money out. It's a Piranhas. Shit. We let that fire. Koge on the outside is a bummer. It's well positioned. So this is a Sadievna, we think. I don't think we break that. It's really expensive. Oh my god, if we Into the Depths of serving. So might as well boost. I don't think so. Might as well boost. Is that correct? Like the other boosting synergy is now bad publicity. Like I think here now we Into the Depths HQ. And then we get money to use the boost. We could consider running back. We actually probably need Into the Depths to pull out our Fractor. Because we know there's pings on the table, and now the Piranha's on the outermost. We have to deal with Klevetnik ping. Yeah, I don't think we boost here. You boosted the break Valenchow last game? But yeah, but it's 1 ice versus 3, and we know this is not the game, and we know it's punitive. We have to keep our money up. We'll just let that fire. Hopefully we keep the diesel and the ITD. Losing the rigging up would be sick. Crap. That was our next play. Running HQ for singles, okay. ITD for Gauss, yeah, I know. That was a 1 in 5. Feels bad. So that publicity gets a bit cheaper. We're relatively safe to punitive. If there's a Holloman here, that means there's probably a Holloman in server 2. We don't have Pinhole. Maybe we hope that's a Rashida. I don't know. Maybe hope is not the exact word that we want to say there. It looks like that is a Holloman, so. Spin Doctor. How fast can we go? We really need the Into the Depth. We really need to find a Fractor. So next time we do Diesel, go from there. Yeah, Trash seems, it's okay. It's not amazing. I think it's okay. Okay to good. We luckily have money in our hand. YDL for 7. Okay. So with Neurospike, you can score, you need to pre-advance it, right? The deck doesn't have Seamless. So if there's a card here and you do Holloman, how many clicks does the score have with Holloman? 3, 4, 5? So we don't lose unless there's a single advancement on the card because it's not a Seamless list. Okay, Spin Doctor might be something we have to contest. We always start, hey, we're back. Onacom is a tech card for the matchup, sort of. Triple install on the remote server 12 credits is threatening kill. Why? Oh, they do double Holloman. Okay, if they do double Holloman, then it's worth trashing. So the question is, can we afford Onacom? I'm going to hope we are. I don't think there's agendas in HQ. Do we Piranhas server 2? Or sorry, do we ITT server 2? I don't think we can because we can't deal with a barrier. Deck runs at least 2 jupe stats, so it doesn't have to be advanced. Yes, if there's only 2 cards, we're fine. If there's 3 cards, it's a problem. Oh, you're right. Rigging up on a com. Oh, yeah, that's better. Why did we not draw? Oh, because we dieseled. Silly. Very interesting kit list. Is this a Mari killer? Jakob, how's it going? Yeah, this is this a Mari a killer? It is. It is on 2 jupe stat, 3 punitive, if I'm not mistaken. This is what the EA Sports folks from the UK were playing at EMEA. I think we have enough money that we can run archives and maybe Davs will not, and then we can do sure gamble. His draw hasn't looked amazing. So it looks like there's agendas in here, which is fine. Sudden Commandment 1 unknown. Okay. Pat, how's it going? ITD draw? It doesn't draw. Oh, like play ITD to draw? Now the agendas seem to be in R&D. Or at least there's one agenda in R&D. I think we just need to set up. Need to use bad pub every run to get to 6 ASAP. Oh, we should have used bad pub that run. Sorry. You mind if I bad pub? Yeah, we should have boosted. I totally forgot we had bad pub. Okay. So probably need to keep our money up. I think we can sure gamble. The thing is next turn we'll probably ITD for a breaker. So I think we can afford to sure gamble here. We're running out of draw. We already lost our Onacom because we dieseled. But we need to keep cards in hand. Planogram for a card. So he's looking for something. It would actually be better to score re-education early because that's the kill combo, but you can still kill with a send a message jupe stat. It doesn't. Oh no, it does matter. It does matter what you have. Of course it does. There's only 5 more agendas in the whole damn game. 12 cards in R&D though. Us spin doctor out. Hey Nan. Second spin doctor in the bin, not cycled back. There's probably some combo with sudden commandment. I think sudden commandment, the idea is you can get more cards in hand clicklessly. Okay, so now we can lose this turn. A pinhole would beat this. We don't have a pinhole. But we need to figure out how to run this. Which means... Okay. We can lose this turn. Man, you only have so many clicks in this game. It's turn 5. Like, you have to play this perfectly because there's just not enough time. So we need to get into here. We're not going to respect punitive too much. If we ITD HQ, we can get down our hyperbaric. It costs us nothing to run HQ. It draws a card. I think that's the start. I don't think we have mantle time. Depth into Gauss, run, draw. Yeah, I think that's exactly it. Ideally, we draw into a diesel here. We break that for free with bad pub. Install program, we get a Gauss. Okay. Oh, we drew a diesel. Okay. Yeah, I think instead Evna is okay to fire now that we have a diesel. We diesel to cards and we just fire this and we run. Like, this has to be an agenda. Yeah, fam's just that good. Okay. Thinking. So we break the Klevetnik. We break the ping. This is Sarevna. I think we just did diesel run. Yeah, I don't think there's anything to it. No, we can't respect punitive. What does this do? You may draw a card. Do you want to damage? We don't care. End the run if there are more cards. So this will put it on 5 and put us down to 4. So we have to break parts of this. So this we break. I think that's it. Andre's life flashed out before his eyes when he saw the agenda. It was pretty good. Sam, nothing. Oh, you're right. Sam was nothing. So that's probably ping, and that's probably Sarievna. But you're right. He didn't res anything. It's the ping. Okay. What keeps us out here? End the run sentry. That's not real. He has 6, can't res a Hydra. It's another Piranhas. Okay. That net might be bad for 2x punitive. It might be, but we're assuming we win. Yeah. Oof, good game. Yeah, if we worried about punitive, we'd have to play around punitive if we didn't steal the other 3 points, because we have to run this no matter what. Had the combo? So that means we actually don't lose next turn. He has to like top deck the jupe stat. It has to do like Holloman install jupe stat because I don't think he's on Neurospike. Yeah, because that actually makes sense. If we know he's on Neurospike, that he has to like top deck into the combo. Because Holloman puts it on full, then he can do draw, install, jupe stat, score. Yeah, I only realized that now. Runner nowadays seems to be mostly about having an unstoppable rig. I don't think that's runner nowadays. The longer the game goes, the runner eventually will have an unstoppable rig. Like the fact that this deck breaks 2 piranhas relatively reasonably is kind of wild for the deck. Thanks to the game. But like that's just inherent a part of the game. As the longer the game goes, runners outskill corporations unless you're specifically like playing 2023 Soccer Worlds. That's actually the big part of the video that we're working on, the replay review. Hey, cheers. You can planogram to draw 3, Holloman, advance, install, jupe that. Yeah, he has 1 click to do a mass draw. So either Holloman or even if he can afford to sudden commandment and to get the click back. So you can do sudden commandment, draw through, predicted draw 3, something like that. There are 2 different versions of this deck at EMEA, one with Neuro and one without. Some of them were on double jupe stats, some of them were on Neuro jupe stat. I think that's the only difference in the list because those cards are the same influence, if I'm not mistaken. Shouldn't runner have unstoppable rig unless you like Glacier BTL? Yeah. Relatively reasonable after you spend 10 credits boosting? Yeah, but like, don't think about it too much. I don't know. You're not wrong. It's just like, we now break piranhas for 1 credit. That's weird. That is weird. -1 attitude, +1 Hansei. Oh yeah, Hansei, because I think jupe stat is 3 or 4 influence and Neurospike's only 2? Or is it 4 and 3? Jupe stat's 4 and Neurospike is probably 3. So you have 1 Hansei worth of influence. Yeah, okay. I'm not saying it's bad, it's funny. You're not wrong. It is funny. It is very funny. That deck did really well. There's a lot of players playing that. We drew really hot. We touched very few cards on Centrals and stole 6 points. Like, I don't think it always goes that easy. Oh, look who it is. This is Rocky's deck we're playing. She did great. I think her corp was just PD. Hell yeah. Best of luck, have fun. Congrats again, eh? 2 jupe stat seems right, but winning off of a Sam sounds good too. You can't jupe stat off of a Sam, you're right. I don't know where I sit on it. One of them is weaker to pinhole, the other's weaker to hand pressure. Both are kind of tricky. Hey, quick rules question. I tied myself in knots trying to work it out. Can the runner jack out after the corp uses the effect on Sisyphus protocol? No. You cannot. You can jack out for cards like the other upgrade that forces you back into it again. I don't want to spell it. That can't be right. Sorry, Rahi. Sisyphus says the first time each turn the runner passes, or you may pay or trash if you do the runner encounters that ice again. If it said approach, you can jack out if it's not your first ice that's res that's approach. You can't jack out on encounter. You can jack out on approach. Code replicator, thank you. Yeah, code replicator, you can jack out. I think it says specifically on it. This hand, we rigging up into an Onacom. We have Manta. That's fine. But you cannot. That's the same thing with Ag Infusion. Notice Ag Infusion says you encounter that ice. The runner moves to the outermost position of the server and encounters that ice. That means 2 things. Firstly, you can't jack out. But secondly, corporations can only res ice on approach. So the ice that you have to be redirected in, you can't jack out, but it'll only do something if it's resed. So that's a big thing. Approach versus encounter. Remote server. Okay, we don't have pinhole. I think we're just going to smash it. On 5 credits, what did she do? She drew, she mulled. So ideally, we want to be able to run this. Trash a Rashida. Trash, even if it's a, what's it called to trash it? The grid. Tranquility. We'll just see what happens here. We want to get the Gatekeeper resed earlier anyways. If it's a drafter, it's not that good for us. Or not that bad for us, I mean. It's not that good for her. Code Replicator just says make the runner approach the piece of ice. Yeah, so you can check out. Rig cam, we'll rig cam, but we won't do it first. We'll trash this. Great. So that draws. There is 1 Telerik in the deck. I forgot about that. So she probably has an agenda in hand. I think we can afford to run HQ once. We need to draw. It's a bummer that we're going to drop the Creative Commission. Or not going to drop the Creative Commission, I mean. I think we run HQ to see what this is. Because she has points in there for sure. Yeah, there you go. And then I think we'll just Creative. We could have considered running HQ twice, but it doesn't respect Ikwa. But yeah, she has, after a mulligan, 5 cards in. She has an agenda for sure. David, doing well. How you doing? Uh-oh. Corporate hospitality. That means this ice is a 6 coster, so it's probably an MIC, maybe a Brawn. She brought back the Rashida, it's in hand. So here now, if a drafter is a bit worse because hospitality goes back, but I think now we can play a bit more control because we already have the first 2 points. We have an open trick shot lane. Like we don't have to be aggressive here. I will dirty laundry R&D. It draws a card. Okay, no surprise. I think we just draw. I don't think we need a telework. It seems a bit slow. Nuke is a bit better for us. The rips, it's a bit of a lucky rip, that's for sure, but it's a calculated lucky rip. Like, you make your own luck. You see them all again, you see that open. You can't res the ice. It looks like she has something that's not that easy to play. So we'll run HQ. Second ice, okay. She can res one of them. If she reses a 6 coster, we're relatively happy. And that's probably the Rashida, which I think we're going to contest that. If it's an MIC, how bad is it for us? It's pretty bad. If it's a drafter, it's not the worst, so we're going to nuke her first. I mean, could we do mantle trick shot? I think we just do SMC trick shot. No ice on R&D is sick for us. This is a one of. We keep finding this. Oh, this deck is kind of cool. This deck is pretty sick. That will help her. But I think it's more important we keep our credits to contest server 1. This is close. Opponent's the kit deck creator? Yeah, this is Rahi's deck. Let alone Rahi is the creator of Cyberfeeder, the plugin we're using. It's so sick. Oh. I mean, I guess. Now if we run server 1, she can res. If she res a drafter, we can panic boost into it. If she reses a gatekeeper, we don't care. There's a spin doctor coming up. She reses a Brawn, we're happy. Because Rashida is all she's going to get here, and we're on game point. Now the thing is now with the Rashida, she can like draw a lot and discard cards. But her money's not very good. So here she needs like a YDL, which is not super common in every PD list. Mind you, we can look at her list. It's posted. Always trash? I don't think so. I think we need to keep a modicum of money up because we need to deal with a Brawn sooner than later. Okay, that's ice. Rye's very prolific then. Great job. I like the plugin. Plugin's sick. Plugin's incredible. Okay, Spin Doctor, unknown. She has a seamless, so this actually has a chance of being an agenda. If we first click run this and triple click through the Brawn, it eats Kit's ability, which isn't great. So we could just start here with a Diesel to draw 4. I think that's better than Nuka. We're also going to find about Rye created Jade, also Netrunner. She made the original Diesel. I think if she scores out in Seamlesses here, if it's an off-roll, that's pretty bad for us. Just write Sisyphus in chat. Thinking. So we got to figure out how to put the pressure on. She can barely res a piece of ice. If she reses 1 ice, she can't score out. So if we Brawn and run to server 1, if it's a drafter, it's not the worst. Rashida comes back on the table and we can't deal with it. That's pretty bad. But it looks like the ice that was on server 1 is either drafter or 6 coster. And we probably need to call her bluff there. I don't think it's Diesel for sure, because if we Diesel, we can't deal with Brawn. I'd argue that we probably don't have to click through the front subroutine of Brawn, but she drew a lot of cards, so she might actually have an ice that she can install and or res. Is there a major difference between using Diesel versus Nuke in the matchup not killing you? It's whether Anacom draws or not. Like, this draws 4 with Nuka's click 3 because of the Anacom. So it's, we don't care about the damage. Like, we're not going to take damage. This is tricky. We don't run the Spin Doctor. I think it's whether we run this or not. I think the best draw here we can get is either a Dirty Laundry so we can mantle, start charging the Hyperbaric by running HQ. Or we can, because she probably has another agenda in hand. We've gone through 15 cards. Actually, maybe not. But her early start looked bad. All right, we'll let this one slip. Oh, Into the Depths is good. How much does Gauss break a Brawn for? I actually don't know. I have no idea. The other rigging up targets in our deck, generally don't know what they are. We could rigging up the mantle. Like the other rigging up targets would be After Image, which is okay. 5 credits? Ugh. Yikes. Okay, not great. Maybe Propeller is better than Gauss. Generally, Propeller might be better than Gauss. I think we just rigging up Mantle Into the Depths HQ. Can we afford to get the twinning down? Goes down to 5. We have bad publicity. We're going to get 4 from this. I don't think we're going to choose a program. Yeah, I think we can. 7 afterwards, great breaker. Yeah. Rigging up mantle? Yeah, it's fine. Whatever. It's unlikely we're going to draw something better. And she can't really res this. Because if she can res this, she can't threaten to score out. Drafter, okay. That's probably the worst case for us. Oh my god, we can't break drafter. The twinning was too expensive. Oh, we can't break drafter. Uh-oh. The twinning was too expensive. Oh, we can. All right, this is not great. It's fine. We mismanaged our economy. We have to work on the telework now. We can't steal Iqua, but we couldn't anyways. Do we see 2 here? Oh. Sorry, you can fire. I don't think she did. Yeah, she gets the fire. Yeah, she didn't. Oh, I didn't hit the fire all subroutines. That's on me. She can fire the return one. But now she's probably not scoring out, which is great. Unless that's a Rashida. She had a Rashida to hand. Oh, wait, we actually get money. We can see 2 cards. Charging a card is worth less than 4 credits. I think we can afford to C2 here. That's a good reason to C2. Good game. Agenda in their mode? I think agenda in their mode is likely. But that was in 7 cards. Yeah, that tracks. We overextended slightly there. It wasn't the end of the world. I think the drafter was the worst case there by a mile. But yeah, we just touched very few cards and got there. Thanks to the game. So we're pretty sure now she can't score out. She could do credit seamless if she has it, which she might have to do on this board state. Shaper doesn't equal slow. I don't think Shaper's been slow in a while. I think there's late game Slaper decks, but the Shaper decks are getting more aggressive. Sick rips. Yo, good game. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. I think the HQ run early was okay. Seeing 2 in R&D we're going to do anyways. Finding the 2 of Iqawas, like 1 of 2 Iqawas, is super important for the matchup. And that was probably a 1 in 7. So as much as we saw 2 in 7. Deck seems fine. Seems cool. Did you like me rigging up my mantle to save a credit? It was important. It was genuinely important. It was pretty cool though. Hey, it's LP. Hey, how was EMA? I think we're gonna try and not die again. Yep, LP's gonna try and probably do the same deck that we saw before. This hand, hyperbaric rigging up, a bit of card draw, no economy. Heck yeah. So this is on the edge of being keepable. Hyperbaric rigging up is like, it's actually a 5 credit econ play. Like that's the reason to do it. T400 memory diamond is like tech in this deck. So this is a slower hand. But I'm going to try it. I think I would actually mulligan for a more aggressive thing. Best of luck, have fun. Is Alpi in... I'm not sure if Alpi is in tiebreakers, or I think Alpi is tiebreakers, not EA Sports. I don't know how much we can rely on this as like tech for the matchup. We probably can. Alpi is tied? Okay, that's what I thought. The tiebreakers playmat was really cute with all the signatures. I thought it was quite nice. All right, we're calling event, not an aggressive start. This actually could be Asmari Glacier because Alpi is not EA Sports. So we could do rigging Nuka, start with Nuka. Hopefully we find another event. Shit. Oh, sure, gamble. So like we want to play 2 events this turn. The problem is we can't. Unless we rigging up the T400 memory diamond. You know I'm gonna. Tech. We're good. Yeah, rigging hyper is actually good because you save 5 credits. Like that's 1 click to save 5 credits and get an install is like obviously very, very good. Yeah, you're right. I wasn't like going to rigging up T400, but when in Rome. I think this turn we'll probably diesel because we're going to play Sure Gamble so we can play 2 events a turn. If we're going to play no events, like there is some world in which like you nuka and don't play events this turn. Alpi going from 15 to 17 doesn't seem that important. Actually, maybe we do. No, we'll diesel. Okay. What's the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is this is a Hydra. So we probably just do credit, Sure Gamble, creative. Fine. I'm so happy with the play, Matt. Goated artist on the team. Who did it? Actually, who did it? And who decided the placement of all the signatures? Like, do y'all fight for that? Spin Doctor to Spin Doctor. It looks like LP has an ugly start. Did LP mull? LP kept. Okay, we built a remote server. We're not worried about this. Looks like a Rashida. Placements are random. You think that. You put sunglasses next to your name? Okay. That's econ. Our econ's relatively good. I feel like this is an okay time to trick shot. The twinning doesn't actually work yet. I think we can afford to trick shot here and get some ice resed. Yeah, I did. Yeah. How warm did you find northern Italy? Axu. Yeah, okay, this is Glacier. We have to slow our roll a bit. Oh, eventually we'll bypass this, but this is 6 strength. Did I miscalculate this? 1, 2. 1, 2. So this is probably degree mill. Fully break Hydra, otherwise we take a tag. A tag is worth a credit. I was dying a sweaty mess. Sorry, man. Shuffling in 2 here. Mav, we don't care about that. It's actually not a good draw for our opponent, so we're going to let them draw that. Let's see what gets rezzed here. Puddle of monster. He sweats caffeine. Or whatever taurine is. No res? Why is this happening? This is the second no res Sam I've seen today. So now in 9 credits, there's not that much that can be rezzed here that we're worried about. It would be just like a Sarievna. I'm sending it. Legit, I'm conning the OP team to letting me run EMEA in Northern Finland next time. Okay, ping. That does end the run. Oh. Sorry. Value. Just boost. It's 7 strength now. Do we die to double punitive? We could. So if we don't want to die to punitive, we do draw, remove tag. The other option is remove tag, install telework, which means we die to double punitive. So that is probably the read on what's on the remote server if they don't res it. It has to be ping or some on res. Boost? Yeah, I got there. So we'll do that to survive punitives. The one on HQ must be a ping. Or something that is just like very cheap. Shit on me. Okay. That's annoying. We're going to take a turn off. Can someone give us bad publicity? It feels like it's been a minute since we've had bad publicity. Draw. Oof. Where's our mantles? Bypass Hydra for 2. We need to make sure we're playing the long game here. So as soon as we see a tomorrow's headline, that actually is interesting because they're highly incentivized to play. Sorry, are you incentivized to play 18 points of 3-pointers? So this means that tomorrow's headline, we have to actually play around seamless launch. We have to play around like crypto crash. 49. Okay. So actually 49, it could be send a message, all 3-pointers and on one headline. Because 49, you should always check before the game. You should ask your opponent. The artist was Promethean. Thank you. I think running HQ here is fair. We saw 2 Spin Doctor shuffles, but no face downs. It doesn't cost us that much to check. I wish we had some reason to check though, like to charge a twinning. I don't think we want a mantle for an SMC, a mantle for SMC for a mantle. So we should have drawn first. That's a good reason to go now. So with this, we probably produce our fractor just so the ping isn't a problem. I call it S attack. I think we go ITD here. We need a bit more card draw, but we'll go HQ. We're assuming this is another ping, which like, that's fine. Yeah, it is another ping. So we have to clear the tag. It's either gain 4 credits or install a program from the stack. The program from the stack is about worth 4 credits. It's a Gauche, off-world office. Okay, so it's actually probably on few send a messages. I'm not worried about punitive no more. We're on game point. We have a twinning. We have no mantles. We probably need to run this. Why wouldn't we run this? This looks like an NGO front. Advance? Okay, so that's a Messna Chesvo. Wait, where did our money go? When I first saw the title of the stream, I thought it was a Bathynomus deck. You're not the first person to think that. I totally forgot Bathynomus was an option, but this has a Bathysphere on it. That's a great catch-in art. Okay, so we know that this cost us 1 credit. We know that this cost us 5 credits. So this cost us 6 credits. Can we produce 6 credits sooner than anything else? This is a 3 credit button. If we do 3 credit button, credit button, we're on 5. Is there a way to cheat this? I'm worried that this is an off-world office. Worst case, that'd actually be we get to 6 and we lose it all to an attitude adjustment. You can duck with Mantle. You're right. If we get a Mantle, we only need 2. We need 5 credits. It's not. Oh, actually, no. If we have a Mantle, we only need 4 credits because you do break, lose 3 fire, then we ping through this. That's fascinating. Thinking. How do we get 4 credits? And a Mantle. And a Mantle. Telework. This has to be a mess in the chest, though. I think we need to draw a trick shot, and even that doesn't do it. Hold the phone. I don't think we can. You would need 2 mantles. We only need 1 mantle for the ping. So if we do telework mantle. At a minimum, we can run HQ for 1, but I don't think there's another agenda in hand. So if we have a mantle, we're on 2. We're actually like 1 or 2 credits short. I think I install the twinning. Or no, we could draw into a trick shot, I guess. Huh. Yeah, we're short. I think we're going to duck. In case it is the thing that is going to ruin us. Yeah, we're just a bit short. But not much short. Okay, great. So now we're running HQ for free every turn. We just do credit mantle. Not a great run. Like ideally we have... Oh, how are we ever going to play that? This is really ugly. We have a money problem. We should probably be clicking for credits. This is an aggressive axis. Should we sweep the hand here? We've seen so far, we've gone through 16 cards and we've seen this many points. I don't think we should sweep. We forgot, we accidentally used twinning. That's unfortunate. I didn't mean to twin there. But like, whatever. Okay, that's fine. We got to keep that in mind when we hit a Hydra. That's going to ruin our game. That's really, really bad. Hydra can just like kill you sometimes. If you're tagged. The dreaded ping into ganked. Yeah, and LP didn't trash it because why would he? In theory, you do if you actually access the other order. We also saw a Cloud Eater. I think I probably glazed over that. We saw a Cloud Eater and I didn't even think about it. I was just like, oh, it's okay, that's cool. But yeah, this is Hyper Glacier and he needs to do install advance. We've seen no NGO fronts, so that's hard. But yeah, Cloud Eater into ganked is just mega cursed. We just do nothing. Yeah, I think we click for 4. I think we do click for 4. That could be Rashida worst case. That's a Cloud Eater. That's like really messed up. Yeah, didn't even face you. Like, oh yeah, Cloud Eater. Okay. Yeah, that's rough. Creative commission. We have, I think 2 left. Yeah, we have 2 left. That would have been something. Didn't res. Okay, so we think there's a ganked in there. Ganked to Mess and Chestwood doesn't matter. Could also be a Holloman, which is actually more likely. And a Holloman with another card on top of it, we lose the game. Okay. We actually have to consider running right now. So if we do credit, sure gamble. Alpi's on 9. Because in theory, Holloman, he needs 8 to score out. So if we play an event, he can win the game. Okay, thinking. Because you res Holloman for 2, then you spend 4, and then you do advance. That's 8 credits. So if we play an event, he has enough to win. Yeah, if we play an event, he can't res a snake. The snake is 10. We know the Mess and Chessel will get res. That'll drop him down to 2. So that's not that bad. So if we do, like, we could run into this, lose 3 break, and break ping for free, then we can't trash. And if we get thrown into Mess and Chessel, we lose more money. So this is tricky. If you play the event and force the res, yeah, we just can't only play the event. It's unlikely to be Holloman to send a message. But on 9, there's no big ice we're worried about. The worst case is Mess and Chesvo. And if he reses it for 5, we lose 3. I think we're relatively okay with that. I think we'll run server 2. Because he has to res, otherwise we break this for free. But Satyevna could be annoying into ganked. Does it make sense to SMC into something? No. Whoa, that's cool. So if we break this, he has to res the Mess and Chesvo. He does, okay. So here now that we only lose to like a Rashida would be the worst case. We've lost our 3 credits. So we can at least break one of the subroutines. If we break one of the subroutines, we'd break that for sure. Do we break the end of the run? If we break the end of the run, we're paying 2 more. Ganked hits us into border control. That's not great because LP gains 3 credits. Or we have to trash the gank. I don't think we force the BC pop. I don't think there's agendas in here. I think this is a Rashida on top of a ganked. I think we just need enough money that we don't have to respect this. Shit, not a Rashida. Okay. So probably Holloman ganked. I just don't think that we have to run this. I could be wrong. But like, we've seen 132. I'm assuming it's on send a message, offworld, offworld, tomorrow's headline, maybe? We just don't have any good tempo plays. We have so many good events in our stack. We need to play them. Our win condition is probably just a trick shot. Trick shot twinning, which should close it. We just need to get there. Is burner good? I mean, it does something. Yeah, burner's good. We can burn our dirty laundry, see most of the cards. Choose 2 cards. Whoa, that actually is probably a Regolith. I think that's a Regolith in server 2. So Hydra, we break for 3. Mess and Chesto is actually more annoying. I think we just dirty laundry. We just need money. Yeah, follow up HQX is good. I don't think there's an agenda in there though. As a Mav, we should have known that. So I think it's a Regolith in server 2, but then he could have done a credit res Regolith. Maybe it's not. He's on 5. We lose on 8. So if he does credit, we have to not play an event. Oh no, it doesn't matter. He's on 8. Shit, second Regolith. Okay. So now we can lose to this. It's unlikely, but we can. So we need to just get a trick shot. How many trick shots are there? We can also just see 3 cards. Or 4 cards? 3 cards. So on 9, looks like this is the big snake. So we don't want to play an event into the snake. So we probably just run R&D. Yeah, the remote isn't a rego, so we could lose a remote. Do we rigging up an after image? What is the Cloud Eater text? I think if he reses the snake, we're happy with it. Because Cloud Eater says either take 2 tags, suffer 3 net damage. We can suffer 3 net damage. As I'm seeing Taplong, I think we just rigging up an after image, right? Oh, we don't have 2 stealth credits. Oh, that can't be right. Shit. Because Snake is... Yeah, wait. That might be wrong. Because we can't boost twice because a Snake is 6 strength. Right? Or is it... It doesn't matter. It's not 4 strength. Yeah, the math on that's not right. You could simul-chip the Mansell? Yeah, we could. We could. Yeah, you're right. That's probably the play. Is we do simul-chip the Mansell. It's so ugly, but it's might be correct. Whatever. Oh, but what are we gonna do for Snake? That way, this isn't it. So what does Snake even do? Like the tags might matter. If we're running last click into a ping, it's bad here. You can't simul-chip the Mantle in order to bypass. Why not? Oh, because we have to pay 2 at once. Oh, we can't simul-chip it. We'd have to simul-chip the boost. Yeah, this can't be it. Sorry. Even if you bypass, it'll fire. 100% if we bypass, it'll fire. And that's why we need to figure out what we're going to bypass. Thank you. So we drew for sure, right? Yeah. Yeah, we'd have to break it, which is too expensive. So I think we just run R&D and we see 3. I think we just run R&D assuming this can't be rezzed. Like, we have to get a bit lucky here. There's a chance we lose on server 2. I think it's actually likely we lose on server 2. Because I think this is safer than HQ. And so if it has to be Hollowman to something, it actually might be right to run this. The ganked is not that bad. Yeah, we probably should just be running server 2 in hindsight. No further? You want to think about it even if you can't res it. So now we're overextending if we don't win off this. The heck? Okay. I mean, GG. What's in the remote? Maybe LP doesn't have it. But one of those is probably ganked, and ganked into this is not that bad. Ganked hollow. Ah, sick. Yeah, that tracks. So I think he doesn't have it. If it's ganked hollow. We assumed it was a gank. We're worried about hollow. I think we should have known that's a gank, so we weren't worried about hollow agenda. Yeah. The ganked on this server is not that bad. Hey, thanks you too. I'm having good success with this deck. Like it is. We're playing into different archetypes. We probably don't have a real game into horizontal full assets or like into R+. But so far, this has been really kind of fun. It's been really fun. Let's do one more. I'm getting kind of hungry and I need to eat. It's hard to tell because of the high rolls, but this deck is sick. We're definitely getting luckier, which is like, hey, at a tournament, that's good too. But our economy there failed us, and I think we should have played around that slightly. Horizontal full asset matchup is a prey for Lou Prisha. Oh, yeah. Lou's good there. Who would have thought just touch cards get you there? We haven't just been straight touching cards. Like, that was a 3-card dig on R&D. Like, Maker's Eye, you just need to see one agenda. It's not incredibly unlikely. We also knew there's no agendas in HQ, so the density on R&D gets a bit higher. So we've been a bit hot, but not absurdly hot. Like, I don't think we've had wildly high rolls. We've had slightly better than you'd expect, but not like... I don't think we've had massively better than you'd expect. Thing. Hey. Totally. So the Tank is a player that I played against, like, I think 2 nights ago and said, do you want to play something good? And I said, yeah, good's fine. And then they brought Barthule and the game did not go my way. They were really, really nice. Op. Okay, cool. Apparently the op matchup is not too bad. What's our opening hand here? Hyperbaric, Trickshot, Diesel, Creative, Onicum? Can you create a better hand? Slightly better, touching 7 points and 3 cards? Yeah, but that undersells the fact that like the HQ run was probably a 40% success. The R&D runs were, one of them was a C2, one of them was a C3. This hand's sick. Like, I don't think we were just like full random. Like, I think after the mulligan, putting Rashida behind an ice you can't res, HQ is probably a 40 to 60% chance to hit an agenda against PD. Do we creative commission click 1 and 2? Hyperbaric trick shot? How much money do we need to deal with this? This is where like Stavka Afron's gonna ruin us. If we just do hyperbaric trick shot, I think we just do hyperbaric trick shot. I don't think we want to afford to do that. I think we want to contest server 1. Because no matter what. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe. I'm glad we didn't spend 6 credits on this hyperbaric. That'd be pretty bad. Bummer, man. Bummer. At least we're forcing a sandstone res here. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. It is 3 points. Diesel creative. Oh, we're back. We're back, baby. Wall to wall. Oh, this is Tuno list, I think. This is the list. We have 3 more in there. Yeah, imagine that was boosted. Okay, Spin Doctor on the table. This is assets. Shit. So this is not an advanceable ice necessary. The only ice in this list that can't be resed here. So I think we actually just ITD HQ and get a Prisha. I think we Onica him ITD. I'm so confident this can't be resed. If this is the 1 of Descent in the list, yeah, we lose. But it's not the 1x Descent in the list. It never is. Extract. Okay. Okay. When it rains, it rains. We actually shouldn't have installed the Unicom. I forgot we can't. Oh, God. Why did we install the Unicom? That was way greedy. Because now we can't sure gamble. Oh, that's really, really quite bad. Oh, that's a huge. No, we should. That was way wrong. I got too happy about that. That's a Spin Doctor. We're here. Crap. Yeah, that was way too aggro. We just need to keep our money up because we need to contest the board. Here the Svi actually like hurts the wall to wall and the Maryland. So ideally here you take 2 from Maryland, you Svi the Maryland into. There's not a lot of good 1-costers like an Ice Wall and R&D something. But with the wall to wall, we're actually not that upset, I don't think. They might have been right to res nothing. Yeah, money's called appreciation. I know, but now we have to click 3 credits to play the gamble. Like, that was a huge mismanagement. We shouldn't have Anacomed. It was way too cute. The one coster in this is just Ice Wall. Or like a Powers. And I don't think you want a Powers here. Have 5 credits and gamble. Hand equals play gamble. Oh, our Hearts and Minds too. Yeah, we'll deal with that. I don't think it's that straightforward, but yeah, we definitely should have gambled instead of Anacom. Anacom was honestly kind of a punt. This deck also only has Archer as like the ways to trash programs, so we can face check into everything. There's no punishments. Besides Archer. Archer's bad. Ugly. Draw for Dirty Laundry. A creative commission up this saves us. We're forcing a res here. If it's a Rashida, we can trash it. Anything else? That's good. We need to trash the Sphere sooner than later too. I think we just click for a credit here. We could diesel and throw out, we'd be on 7 cards. Throw out 2 is okay. But yeah, this diesel needs to hit a Dirty Laundry or creative. Decline Sphere, okay. Oh shit, it was the Eminent. That's, oh no, it's an Azief. We're fine with that. If that was an Eminent, that's actually like game warping. I forgot Eminence in this deck. Just a Maryland. We lost. Yo, where's our one Simon chip? Shit. Okay. That's fine. We have to now trash the Maryland. That's fine. We'll draw a Dirty Laundry. That's fine. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Luckily, we have this Onacom. It's paid us 6 credits to draw 2 cards. We do telework, use telework. I think we do telework, use telework, Maryland. That's fine. Good thing they're not using ice. The deck actually has like 9 ice in it. We need to get to 6 strength to beat Archer. And border control is really ugly with Kit's ability. Okay, going for a 0 coster, Spin Doctor probably. Just Rashida behind the border control is a bit aggressive. I feel like that as Yef, you probably, like, that play feels really good when you get the powers that be to rebuild your board state. Just scoring a 3-2 on that board state, we're not too worried about it. So ideally here we do like Nuka, draw a Dirty Laundry, rip down the Svigator. The deck has 1 calibration testing, 1 Holloman. Those are the cards we're worried about. And of Hearts and Minds, but Hearts and Minds goes down pretty easy. Azief PT is such a cool kickflip. It feels so good. It feels really, really good. Extract. Getting rid of the Spin Doctor. Okay. Gaining 6. So not using the ability because the ability was used. So this could be worst case Eminent. And we're like very bad at dealing with this unless we draw our Gauss. And even then it forces the thing to happen. I mean, we can't do it. Crap. Do we just telework Svigator? The Sphere's not going to eat the border control, so the Sphere can eat this maybe. An Eminent will be really bad. But I think we just need to get our money up. We mismanaged our economy and it's costing us like 2 turns. It was really, really rough. I was getting a bit cocky. I think we do telework creative. We can keep the gamble to play later. Oh, we draw a card. Yeah, Into the Depths is cool. It's a bit tricky because of border control. We don't actually need this. Search your stack. After image bypassing an Archer is also very good. Rigging up. Oh, we could have rigged up Gauss and charged the remote server. Oh, that was right. I keep forgetting this card does something really cool. The mantle. We need a mantle for some sort of crime. I think I'm going to throw out the mantle. Okay. Andre, you got to focus. You're getting hungry. You need to be hungry for winning. Eminent is the worst. Actually, like an Azief hitting 2 breakers is also pretty bad. They can pop and pull the Enigma or whatever. Yeah, they can pull, it would be here. Specifically, it has to be an Afshar, which like we can't break Afshar, but we just need to force them to use their abilities before it's border control Archer. They can pop the BC, last click 100% they can, but you want to force him to do that. Like you need to force that. Running BC would probably have summon Kali testing. Yeah, but if they don't need Kali testing to score any agenda. This deck has Regolith in it? Right? Like, it's not necessary. So Ice on HQ is, like, really telling. Because that means he's got an ugly hand here. So we want to pop the border control sooner than later. So I think we just do rigging up Gauss, run the server. Nuka first. Doorbell. Hold on, sorry, 1 second. I just want to check where the doorbell is because I don't think my partner's home. It might be my partner. Time out. My partner is gonna hear it. Okay. So dealing with the regolith is not that important. It becoming a one coster is like kind of annoying, but it's more likely to get Spheed. I'd rather deal with the Sphere here and get our money back up. So I think we can let the regolith go. If he spends his whole turn getting that much money, he can't actually use that much money. So it is what it is. But we need to find our one copy of clone chip or simul chip, excuse me. So maybe we do Nuka first. Man, we lost all 3 decoders. It is what it is. Sometimes it do be like that. Maybe we actually should have kept the mantle because we need stealth credits to deal with Archer. All right, this draws a card. Twinning. Should have kept the mantle. So we'll just take the Sphere down. Because I think Spheing the regolith is better than clicking it 3 times. And then last click, we've played an event. We can start next turn by sure gambling or nuking. So I will do this. Into the Depths only gets us our mantles. It's not that important. But we need a lot of card draw here. The SCF actually did a lot of damage, but like not expected. Oh, I think I know what it is. Yeah. It's a bag of eyeballs. No joke. Regolith. Let's see what one coster it is. We have a whole turn to react to it. We're not worried about 23 credits more than we were at 16. It's okay, this is not Tuno's list. And if it is, it's an older Tuno's list. So we probably should deal with that. Yeah, double mantle for Archer is what we want to worry about. So this looks like not the list exactly I'm playing around. So we can run this. It costs us 2. If we border control it, we won't get a successful run. It'll force the pop, and then we need to come back with a code gate. So we just need to find our decoder. That ain't it. So what happens from hand? Slash and burn or Audacity? We don't have Cloth Thread, so I think we need to deal with this before the snowballs. This is sort of list that probably has 2 Kana. Do we just run it for 2 credits? I think we do. Have we played an event yet? No. We know where all the decoders are? Yeah, we do. So the border control gets cracked here. We're not too upset. Oh, we actually have to pay out of pocket for this because it's not an because it's not an asset. Oh, that means we should have sure gambled first. Andre, what are you doing? This draws a card. Found it. Okay, sick. So that's good. We don't need the diamond. They didn't crack this. So they're going to push an agenda this turn. So what do we have? We have money. We have ITD. We need a twinning. Not this twinning. We need a twinning. I think we can get rid of this twinning. ITD might be worse than the twinning, but we can't fuel twinning at all. With Prisha, we could actually. I have to keep that in mind, that twinning charges assets if you Prisha or miss bones. Okay. Double advance. So it looks like an SDS drone deployment, which means we just want to run it and not show our hand. So I think we do sure gamble, run it. The sure gamble actually might have been too much. So now whatever they border control, we'd be able to break with a simul chip. Oh, it's a flat grid. Well, you got to. So this is an older Tuno list. 1 generation ago. So I think we just dirty laundry archive simul chip. Actually, no, we shouldn't dirty laundry. We should just telework. Yo, Dan, how's it going? What's up, my friend? We're playing a kid deck with stealth, and it's been really fun. That's a trick. Always be 2 steps behind. Okay, this is where it gets tricky because this is probably a Stavka Hafren list. We're looking at 2 Kana and an agenda. Can we beat Stavka Hafren? No. But actually, I don't think Tuno plays Stavka or Afron. Stealth was the Dark Ages. It did really well at EMEA. It came in first in Swiss. I like it. I think it's cool. The problem is we can't support after image even in the slightest bit. So we probably just face tank into this. If it is a killer, like we just break the boarding control, come back, it's more likely to be an end the run code gate. No 3-coster for Afron? Yeah, but you could res him a virus. Yeah. I think we just send it here and see what happens. The problem is if the simul chip gets taxed out, but we always can threaten to like bring in our code gate. I am being silly since I haven't seen it in a couple of years of the game plan. It's not super common. Oh, that's really annoying. Okay. So we have to break this twice, which is really difficult because of the border control and development. So that means we need to kind of start getting our decoder in. Problem is if this is Holloman into an SDS drone deployment, like we don't want to commit to using our single simul chip. This is a stealth kit. It's not ours. Thanos, how's it going? This is Rocky's. She came in first in Swiss at EMEA with this 3 hyperbaric stealth kit. It's pretty cool. We've had great success today with so far. This game looks like it's spiraling out of control. We lost 3 hyperbarics by turn 3. That's not great. And I haven't been playing it perfectly. I think we have to let that fire. Where do we weigh on the kit should have 12 influence argument? I think kit probably should have, but at this point in time, it feels like it matters the least it ever has, which is at least good. Okay, so we can Nuka. What does Nuka get us? I think this is more likely to... I'm not actually sure if this list is on Tucana. I don't think it is. So I'm worried about an SDS. So let's Nuka for some cards. Palangi is interesting. I think we just do Dirty Laundry Mantle. I don't know what to do with the extra 2 influence. Pinhole? Yeah, I think we would pinhole. I think we would pinhole for sure. If it's on Malapert, surely on Tucana? Sometimes. But a lot of the acid-based decks are not on Tucana always that consistently. Like, it might just be a Mavirus or a Holloman. If Tang scores out... Sorry, gets out a Holloman and gets scores of 5-3, like, now with either Slash or Burn or more likely Audacity, we're in a really bad spot. Because we can't threaten Claw it. We have no SMC in bin, let alone no Claw in the list. Kit very rarely runs Claw because of influence. I think we have to get lucky here. This draws a card. Whatever. Okay, what are we discarding? Into the Depth is just a 3-credit econ card. We have 13 cards left in our stack. If we look at it, we have 2 sure gambles, 1 twinning, which is going to be important. I mean, maybe we do this. You can't use After Image Palangi, right? Whenever you encounter. Choose an ice you are encountering. No, that doesn't work. That's unfortunate. Burner's important. This could have been an ice wall, actually. Why were we so confident? There's actually a big chance the HQ ice that we just slammed it through could have been an ice wall. Yeah, I think it's the worst, but maybe not. We have everything out of the deck. Yeah. Well, we need another twinning. Oh, okay, I don't know what this deck is. Arella. Alec, what are you sharing? Azief. We lost Burner and Palangi. Great, we didn't lose the After Image. Saying hi, but going to jump back to the spreadsheet analysis. Yo, Jeff, how's it going? We didn't do the spreadsheet analysis. Jeff, what do you want to tune in into is another DSS rant. We did another DSS rant. If it was an ice wall, you probably res it, the run you made with the 2 credits. Yeah, that's the thing though, is like we made that ITD department res saying that you won't res this. It's probably only has to be a descent, but if it was an ice wall, you would res it. So we know it's not, but if it was, our whole play pattern was messed up. See my comments above? I don't see it though. Okay, we have to get our thing up to 5 strength. So we need to find, how many trick shots do we have left? 2. Okay. We're not losing on this turn. Unless there's a seamless. So that means we need a simul chip or Parisha and then still run this a couple times. This cost 4 to break. Technically, we only have to break 3 on the run back. So this is 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 8. We need 8 credits to do that. So if we do Nuka, draw Nuka, trick shot, we have a chance. We're pretty weak into Stavka. The Slay Spy board game is now available for pre-order if you weren't on Kickstarter. Oh, cool. Crap. We needed a trick shot there. There's 2 and 9. The best case scenario is we could do Sure Gamble, run it, but it's very expensive because we have to get this up to strength. We could Sure Gamble and draw the trick shot. It's 2 and 9 off of Anacom. Yeah, okay. SG run dying to border isn't a problem. It is. You're right, it is, but we can at least clear the server. This is fine. We are hoping they don't trash their board state. If he trashes the board state, a 7 strength Stavka is so much harder for us. But now we actually can't deal with envelopment because this was rezzed. I think this was a bit of a messed up line because now this is no longer a code gate. You should trash Arella? I think so. If that's the case, I think we don't break the Stavka. And we just simul chip back. Yeah. Border control might be the card I'm most excited to see rotate. I would be really sad if there's not a new border control. I think it's one of the coolest cards in the whole game. Straight up. It's so cool that cards have, like, NSG is really good at putting on and counter text and on approach text and all that sort of stuff. But having card text that is like an aura is really, really cool. Do we Pelongi and break here? I think we just break with Code Gate. Like, we just break with our ability. I mean, you have to pump a hyperbaric sooner or later, right? I don't think we can contest the remote server anymore. Oh, that's a problem. So at least we're going to trash that for free. Okay. Let's think here. Super down for the design space, less so for LOL ETR. I think LOL ETR, like, the problem is if you don't have cards like this, the game just becomes about breaking ice efficiently. Like, this is a cool puzzle piece. Like, I get your frustrations. They're totally legitimate. But, like, if the deck is just like ice has numbers, the game becomes produce the best breakers as fast as possible. For free? Yeah, for free. We have trick shot money. It's for free. And we appreciate it's free. Okay, so we want to break this. We can simul chip, throw away our Amelia Prisha for our breaker. It comes in at 1 strength. We need to boost this up frighteningly 12 credits worth of time. If we break this 12 credits worth of times, we still can't res the envelopment. But we're going to have to get our thing up anyways, so we might as well break this now. Let's get the original hyper. We're going to come in with the horse we rode in with. We can afford this, he says. This is an SDS drone deployment somehow. We're going to access an SD. That'll be fine. That's right. I'm the decoder. Ice numbers have what stagnated the game back in Mumbet, also made the game Faust vulnerable, so I mostly agree. Nope. Well, that's not good. So if we run this, this is a barrier. It costs 3,000 credits. We have a money issue. We have to trash this. We have a money issue. So this server still we break for a bit of money. Well, we had a good run. All right, we'll be back on Thursday. Ow, 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 ow. That's so bad. Oh, that's so absurdly bad. We can still win, though. We can still win. We just Nuka hit a trick shot, lost 4 hyperbarics. Yeah, one of them was 7 strength. We can still totally win. How do we win? Run HQ, run R&D, run archives, deep dive. Okay, we're fine. We're totally fine. This technically still matters. We can cheat and rip R&D. I think we don't cheat. I think we just let Stavka fire. There's 1 trick shot in 5. Like, I think we just let this fire. You have to grin and barrack. Okay. I don't think we can afford to break Stavka. The game might be 1 more turn. If Tank has, we lost our burner. If Tank has an Audacity, so be it. Kimberley Field, the deck is shuffled, so the top of R&D is entirely unknown. So the best case scenario here is we just like send it. We can let go Gauss because DJ Quetzal breaking barriers. Yeah, unfortunately it only gets through one of these. But yeah, that is our way out. I think we just do credit dirty laundry. Draw the what's it called? I think we just send it. You know, you really send it when you blow out all 4 tires. We're still skidding along on the bottom of the whatever, the oil pan. Okay, that's not a good start. You don't want to see a code gate off the top. That's a little hint. You see a code gate off the top, it's generally pretty bad. I will run HQ steal a 3-2. I think you're tilting here. I think we have to. Like, we lose next turn, probably. Don't see the extract. Okay. Let's get rid of some cards. This is a good economy card. Mantle is not necessary because we can't generate enough. Oh, yeah. Is rigging up better than Sure Gamble? It might be. We need Mantle for twinning, but this we need a program. Ah, therein lies the rub. I think we get rid of Sure Gamble. So we get this for free. We install twinning, we install Mantle, we run R&D, we see 2, we win. In fact, DJ Fenders probably should go. Can't steal SDS? No, we'll Mantle an after image, but you're right. On that run, we can't. All right, those are cards. Imagine throwing out your only money. Nah, this is our only money. Yeah, I think we got something here. Twinning Mantle trick shot win. Oh crap. Trick shot doesn't charge the twinning. Yeah, we can just trick shot. We can just trick shot this. You can't spend regular credits? We can. We don't have to boost. You can spend regular credits. The thing is, like, we just see 2 here. Stop is only 2 strength? Yeah, we're fine, we're fine. I think we do Mantle, though. Just because if we hit an SDS, we can't lose our after. Well, we can, actually. Yeah, let's find SDS. I think we do Mantle trick shot. Bypass stuff? Good, no. Oh, breaks for 1. Oh, that's really cool. This is maybe not necessary, but we're not doing that much more with our clicks. You're saying there's a chance. You're saying there's a chance we win. No. Damn it. How sick would have that been? Oh, man, it would have been so good. Svi? Uh-oh. Okay, we're shuffling. That means he's not top decking a hammer. He needs the money now, though. Just like an end the run, anything will be good. Oh, it's a barrier. We have DJ Fenris. Credit, Fenris, run R&D, win. Okay, so that's a 3-pointer. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there's 3 more agendas. Oh, if this works, it'll be sick. This man is so excited for a single. Yeah, but you know how sick it would be? I don't think it's an HQ. A thimble water in the desert. Heart of the cards. Let's go. Come on. No. Ah, good game. Okay, well, we played that pretty poorly, and we still put up a good fight. Ah, this deck is cool. I really like it. I like this deck. And running R&D makes a lot of sense in op because they grill things out. Thank you. Good game. That was a fun one. Can't believe I lost for hyper barracks. It looks like this is not Tuna's list. This is the original list, I think. Any agendas in HQ? Yeah, the SDF, no, okay. So there was still it was 16, 17 cards because the Sphere didn't fire. 13, 14. So we're assuming there was 3 agendas. So about a 1 in 5. Yeah. 1 in 5. Could have had it. 6 points in there. Yeah. Yeah, that's what. Cool. Gotta play very outside of the cards. Yeah, that was our play. That 100% was our play. It was like obviously super, super narrow. If we got it, we'd be like the coolest ever, but we still put on this show. And it wasn't perfect. It was fine. Cool. What is life without hope? You have to fight until the end. Yeah. 3rd from top, 5th from top, 4th from bottom. It's random. Yeah, we were just slightly short on the economy. I think throwing out the sure gamble was correct. I think all the things that we had a potential to win were worth keeping because we lose in 2 turns probably. Thanks again. 20% is better than 0. Yeah, running archives is probably not it. But R&D density generally against op gets higher and as the game goes on because they pull out non-agenda cards with op. All right, that was a really fun stream. Deck is really cool. Shout out to Rahi. Shout out to all the people at EMEA. Again, I can't say this enough. Looks like EMEA was a huge success. Massive in-person events are like one of the most energizing things for Netrunner in general. People go to them, realize, well, there's a lot of nice people, a lot of handles you're meeting from around the world. I need to get involved. I want to organize events, all that sort of stuff. So 3 things. Firstly, we have an event coming up in NPC Montreal. I'll get the Always Be running up before Thursday. Apologies for that. We hadn't got that up at all. Secondly, if you're watching this and you went to EMEA, if you want to take a second, and it feels like I'll be honest, selfishly kind of feels like I'm just fishing for engagement. But if you want to take a second to leave a comment on this YouTube channel to talk about like your feedback about EMEA, that generally might be a really nice thing for the folks who organize EMEA to read. Just because the feedback is fleeting. You hear a lot of nice things from people. Maybe you send some good Discord messages, but it's really nice to see that. So people who are like watching this can be like, whoa, organized play is worth getting involved, even if like as a player, as an organizer, even if you're not a competitive player. So if you want to consider that, take a second to do that. We'll be back on Thursday. We're trying to have a video up on the weekend, hopefully maybe on Friday. I've been struggling with it, but it's a replay review on the Corp side, which I think is really, really fun. And that's mostly it. Upcoming in 2 weeks is Canadian Nationals in Toronto. There's the East Coast, Boston, NPC, not an NPC, but what's it called, is coming up soon. In 3 weeks, I think, is the East Coast Nationals. My render failed 5 minutes before this stream. I want to shout out to 2 new people who joined the Patreon club. Firstly, Adam Grundy. Thanks so much for supporting as a Sure Gamble patron. Also, Janktivist, upgrading that support. Really appreciate it as well. Names are not here, but I'll fix that in the near future. NPC Philly in 2 weeks. Also, Eastern Canadian Nats in 3 weeks. So it's Philly, and then later this week it is East Coast Nationals, if I'm not mistaken, also in like the Providence, Boston area. Huge thank you for those hanging out. If you want to take a second to like the stream, that's a huge amount of support. Also, if you want to support the Metropole Grid, a lot of time goes on to edit, to stream, stuff behind the scenes. I spent so much time this last weekend editing and getting nothing out of it or recording. I'll be streaming Philly. Oh, sick. That's good to hear. Marvelous. We'll plug the link in the near future. If you want to support the channel on Patreon, you can find the link below. We have a bunch of different tiers. Mind you, the daily cast tier is not, they're not pictured here, unfortunately, but the support is incredibly appreciated. This channel wouldn't exist the way it does without support from everyone. So thank you so much. If you want to get involved, you can find a link in the description. That's mostly it. We're working on the alphabet series. I can show you my Captain Padma list. It is hard out there because you play against Thule, and it's like, it is not easy, that's for sure, but we're working through that. We're going to interrupt with a couple of videos over the next couple of weeks. Firstly, we're going to have up a replay review, and then Jeff and I have to revisit our tier list, which is something we promised to do after the Continental season, which is pretty exciting. That's largely it. We'll see you on Thursday. Thanks for hanging out. Hopefully you had a good time in EMEA, and we'll see you in a bit.